There's always evil that hides in this world, and then more evil is done by the silence of good men. Silence is golden, or that's what they say. So good men stand silent, and all of us betray. Always impartial, just watching from the side, careful to cover the fears that they might hide. Don't have to tell lies or reach a helping hand, but their silence speaks across the whole land.
Slide up just like that. What do you think?
This is so cool. Mommy, do we have enough? We gotta get one for every club.
Well, I think you just counted the big clubs, right, Jenny B?
I didn't. 3. It's right now.
Oh, good.
If we don't have enough, can we come back for more?
Sure.
They're perfect. Aren't they? Daddy's gonna love them.
Can I help
wrap it up?
Can I help wrap up?
Of course.
I'll eat that. Oh.
Yes, don't ask.
I will.
Silence is golden, or that's what they say. So good men stand silent, and all of us betray.
Amy Joe coming. Just gonna love this. Yeah. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
There's always evil that hides in this world, and then the evil endures by the silence of good men.
Emergency.
My daughter's missing. I think that she's been kidnapped.
Where are you now?
755 15th Street.
272 and a car to cover. We have a kidnapping.
272 en route from Pearl Street.
Real Bible, 16, okay? 270. 305 on the double standby. 217.
My baby's gone. Somebody's kidnapped my baby. I came down from our bedroom, which is on the third floor, and I stopped off at the laundry, which is on the second floor, so that I could just wash out one of her jumpsuits. And then I came downstairs, and that's when I saw it. It was here. It was right here.
Shouldn't you close the airports? What about roadblocks? What do you do first?
One moment, sir. Is this where you found it, ma'am?
No, I found it right here on the stairs. Is it 8? Yeah, they said they were going to call between 8 and 10. What time is it?
Honey, it's only a bit after 6.
After you found this, what did you do?
I ran back upstairs to her room, but she wasn't there. She wasn't in her bed. She was nowhere.
Honey.
They're going to call between 8 and 10, and we have to follow their instructions to the letter. It says if you want her to see 1997, you have to follow our instructions to the letter.
Honey.
Oh, Jesus! They're gonna cut off my baby's head!
What?
Read it! It says that if we talk to you, she's gonna be beheaded!
Honey, easy does it, easy. Come on, honey. Call the Reverend Hoverside. Don't you want to talk to him?
I wanna talk to my baby!
Come on, honey. Let's call Priscilla.
Good night.
Almost everyone's on vacation. Okay, Art will be called. Linda, hi, Bob Whitson. Listen, lucky I got you at home. We got a report of a kidnapping of a 6-year-old girl, and there's a ransom note. Just come in. I need Patterson and Trujillo.
When was the last time you saw her?
10:15 last night, 10:30.
I went in right after that and dressed her and sang her a song.
And you didn't see her after that?
No.
All right.
This is her room.
Did you hear her? I mean, did you get out of bed for anything? A snack, a glass of water, the bathroom?
Our bedroom is on the top floor. It's in the front. This is the back. It's hard to hear. Oh, honey. This isn't helping. Come on, let's get out of here.
Who else was in the house?
Just Burke, our son.
Where's his room?
He's way in the front.
Did he hear anything, do you know?
He's still asleep.
Could you show me his room?
Should I go to the bank? The kidnapper told me to go to the bank. He wrote that she's safe and unharmed. Of course, he has to say that to get his money, doesn't he?
This is Sergeant Whitson at Boulder PD. I've got a kidnapping, and I'd like an FBI liaison. Make sure he brings the protocol manual.
Sergeant Whitson, I want to read you what's in the ransom note. It's addressed to Mr. Ramsey. I mean, not Mr. John Ramsey, Mr. Ramsey. $118,000.
Oh, John, when Patsy called, I thought you'd had a heart attack. Patsy, what is it? What's wrong?
Immediate execution, that's 1. Beheaded, that's 2. She dies. Yeah, it's signed Victory SVCC. No, sir, I have no idea. Well, a bunch of their friends have come over. Yeah, altogether they threatened to kill her 6 times.
Is Patsy all right?
She's in there.
Yes, sir.
You got a hold of Art?
On her way.
What about Larry Mason? Where's he?
He's also on vacation.
Well, get him in here.
Okay.
Take this immediately to Commander Eller.
Mr. White and Mr. Fern are going to take you over to play with Daphne, okay? Attaboy.
Okay. 404 up into Washington. Good night, sir. At 16.
Hello, Reverend Overstock. Thank you for coming.
Of course, John.
Family's well-to-do. Yeah. John Ramsey has a business in town. 400 employees called Access Graphics. Well-connected, I'm told.
We just wanted to
Check it
let
out.
the DAs
Thanks.
know that we have a report of a kidnapping for ransom in the University Hill
3
district.
copies. I don't want
Yeah.
anyone handling the original, and give me one.
Linda, the victim's name is John Benet Ramsey. Little girl, 6 years old. Kidnappers are going to call between 8 and 10. 755 15th Street. That's where you're going. Parents are there.
Can I call you later? The FBI is here. Hey, Ron.
Where are your people set up?
In the house.
The note says they're watching the house.
You know what I find really strange about this? They only ask for $118,000. In John's case, they could have asked for $10 million.
Whoever wrote it is educated.
Attaché. That's not a word any thug can use. And hence. Who says hence?
And use that good Southern common sense of yours. John's not from the South. Patsy's from the South.
Maybe it was meant for Patsy.
But it's addressed Mr. Ramsey. Patsy, don't you find that really weird?
It was a small foreign faction, terrorists.
It's like the War and Peace of ransom notes. An ordinary kidnapper says, we got your kid, we want $5 million, we'll keep in touch, period. And $118,000? How's a small foreign faction going to split up $118,000?
Burke gonna be all right, isn't he?
He'll be fine. We've got him over in my house.
No, it's not Pew. It's Hoffman. Hoffman Pew. Linda Hoffman Pew.
Take a deep breath, Patsy.
She needs money for her rent. And I promised her $2,000.
Slow down. Slow down.
The check is right in the kitchen, just ready to be made out.
Does she have the key to the house?
Of course she has a key. She cleans for
Wait, wait, wait. Let me get the recorder on.
Hello? Look, can I call you back? I can't talk on this phone.
Why didn't they take me instead? Why didn't they take me instead?
Patsy, don't say that. Don't say that.
I carried her upstairs and I read to her for a little while, and then Patsy came in and I went downstairs to get Burke ready.
Did you lock the house when you came in? Do you have an alarm system?
Oh my God. I never use it.
Reichenbach, come over here. I want you to verify something for me. Look like a spider web to you?
Yes, sir. I think so.
It's pineapple. Patterson? John Ramsey just came in.
Mr. Ramsey, do you have a minute?
Yes?
We need a writing sample from you, sir. Just a few words and maybe some samples from your wife, like a grocery list, something like that.
Bound to be something here in the kitchen.
French, bring your guys in
Maybe
here.
down by the phone here.
We're going to clear the house of all officers and non-essential personnel. We're sealing Jean Benet's bedroom, and I want you all, Mr. and Mrs. Fernie, Mr. and Mrs. White.
Oh, yeah. I wrote this.
The rest of the house.
And this list, this is Patsy's shopping list.
Oh, good.
There's got to be something upstairs here. Oh, wait a minute. This is Patsy's writing tablet.
Great. Mind if we get a handwriting sample from you now, sir?
Of course.
Have faith, Patsy. Patsy, pray with me. Let's pray together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is.
Enemies? That's a strong word. John Ramsey isn't the sort of man who makes enemies.
What about Mr. Merrick?
Well, he claimed Access owed him money, but it all got settled.
How much money was he owed?
You know, it came out to about the same as John's current bonus.
Come again?
John's bonus this year. It was $118,000.
I don't want to borrow a dog from Aurora. Use one of the sheriff's dogs.
Sheriff's dogs are ground scent dogs. We need an air scent dog.
So that's what you learned at FBI school, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Mason's right here. Hold on. It's Art for you.
Yeah, Art?
Larry, I've got a house full of people wandering around, and I really could use some backup. This is a 3-story house plus a basement. I can't keep 9 people in sight all by myself. I even think John Ramsey left the house to get his mail a little while ago.
Art, why don't you give Ramsey something to do? That way you'll know where he is and, hang in there, okay?
Hang in there?
Yeah, hang in there.
Mr. Ramsey? Mr. Ramsey, could you help me? Could you and Mr. White go through the house one more time? I need you to see if anything is out of place, something of your daughter's that they might have taken, a toy, a sweater, anything. It would really help. Mr. White, would you come here for a second?
Where do you want to go, John?
Why don't we start downstairs?
Stay with John.
Let's go to Burke's training room first.
John, what about this window?
Oh, that was me. I got locked out in August and I broke the window so I could get in. Oh my God, oh my God!
Oh, she's stiff. She's so stiff.
I found her! I found her! An ambulance! An ambulance!
Stay here.
Someone call 911! She's dead.
Mr. Ramsey, Mr. Ramsey, I want you to call 911. Speak to your wife. Mr. White, I want you to stand by that door. Don't let anybody go down to the basement. Please, speak to your wife. Do that now, Mr. Ramsey. Please, please go.
Won't somebody tell me what's going on? What is it? John. No, no, no.
Yes, this is Detective Linda Arndt. I am at 755 15th Street, 755 15th Street. I need an ambulance. I need backup. I have a dead little girl.
My little angel. Oh, my little
Bring her back! Bring her back to life! Jesus, you raised Lazarus from the dead! Please raise my baby!
Show us where they found it.
Down this way.
We don't know who touched what down there, do we?
No, Ramsey and White were down here by themselves.
Has any part of the house been secured?
The little girl's room, Larry, that's all.
Just doesn't smell right. The strangler with a ligature, then place the kid in a blanket. Kidnappers are out of there in a heartbeat if something goes wrong.
We need to secure this house. Linda, why don't you reserve a half dozen rooms at the Holiday Inn? Make sure that the parents are separated. We need to interview all these people.
Yes, sir.
Wow, point of entry right here, Ron.
That time we'll clear the house.
Okay. All right.
I just don't understand who could do this.
I don't either, Patsy. Did you hear anything Mr. Ramsey said
Not
to his
really.
wife?
Linda? Is this everyone?
I don't see Mr. Ramsey. Let me check in the front.
Can we take off before dark? I'll also have my older kids, maybe my brother and Patsy's sisters.
Mr. Ramsey?
That we get up into...
Excuse me, sir, Mr. Ramsey?
Mike, I'll call you back. Yes?
Sergeant Larry Mason. Where are you going?
I was talking to my pilot. I want to take my wife and my son to Atlanta. I'll feel safer when we're out of Boulder.
Well, Mr. Ramsey, you can't leave Boulder. We have a lot of unfinished business here. We need to talk to you. And we've arranged to put you and your wife up at a nearby motel. We can all talk there.
Motel? No, Mrs. Ramsey and I won't stay at a motel. The Fernies said we could stay with them, and that's what we'll do.
The Fernies? All right, well, then we can all talk there.
Can you give us a day? We just lost our child.
All right, okay. We'll see you tomorrow.
Sir, we need everyone to vacate the house now.
I don't want anybody in here.
Make sure the coroner comes.
Don't worry about it.
Patsy, you can have our room and spend some time with Burke. Talk to him.
I want to be near my Johnny baby.
Daddy! Daddy, are you all right?
Something awful's just happened. Son.
Linda, take a deep breath. Just take a deep breath, Linda. It's okay. Linda? Linda? Then I'm going to read you some words. I need your help. I need you to print these out for me, okay? I'm going to read these words out, and you need to print them out for me, okay?
What words?
Just print Mr. Go ahead. Try it the short way, Linda. M.R. Dot. That's great, Linda. That's great. Now, print the word attaché. You need me to spell that for you? Okay. A-T-T. That's right. A-C-H-E. Great, great. And now, beheaded.
What?
Beheaded.
No.
Linda, no. It's just a word. It's just a word. It did not happen to her. It's just a word.
Go ahead. White male, red shirt, white cap. Standing by the pickup, right?
So, let's see what Trujillo has for us.
The mute. We should be all wrapped up by around 9:30. We could turn the house back over to the family then.
Are you sure? It's a big house, and it's at night. I've seen it take 2 to 3 days to search a house a fraction the size of this one.
Our people are done.
Have you checked all the rooms? There's 15 rooms upstairs. There's 6 more in the cellar.
The crime scene tech says they're finished. They checked the child's bedroom and the cellar room where she was found. We also dusted the doors and the windows. Plus, we bagged all the evidence. We're done.
Why don't you secure it and come back tomorrow? I mean, you don't want to hand the house back to the family, right? And then find out we missed something vital.
The techs are satisfied.
Well, I'm not satisfied.
Tom, have you cleared this with Eller? Tom.
Hey, Pete Hofstrom, please. Hi. Yeah, it's me. Listen, you got to talk to Eller. They're closing down the search.
Crime scene belongs to the police. If we say we're finished with it, we're finished with it.
It's your call to make. Absolutely. All I'm saying is, what's the rush? The Ramseys aren't in any hurry to sleep there. The child had duct tape across her mouth. We haven't found the roll that it came from yet. You should be scouring every closet, every drawer, every crawl space, vacuum for hairs and fibers, look for footprints, shoe prints. It's a murder, Commander.
I'm head of detectives, Hofstrom, and I sure as hell don't need a DA to tell me this is a murder.
It's a murder, and we don't have any witness. In a murder without any witness, there's no such thing. There's too much physical evidence. You have to collect every scrap.
This isn't right. It's just is not right.
I don't know. Maybe Eller knows something we don't know.
Yeah? Yeah. You bet. You got it. All right, hold it. None of this stuff is coming down. Put the lights back up, put the tape back up. We're going to be here all night if we have to.
You were definitely asleep,
The scream was so loud and so terrifying, it woke me.
but you only heard one scream.
One wasn't enough.
Sure it was a child's scream?
I can tell a child scream from a grown-up scream. It was a child.
Larry, I'm way past deadline.
That's not my problem.
Have you found any signs of a break-in?
I have nothing to say.
Well, have you made an arrest?
Got nothing to say.
You have a prime suspect.
I have nothing to say.
Well, do you have any suspects?
I got
Oh,
nothing to
come on, Larry, don't shut me out. I got a right to know.
I don't care about your First Amendment. All I care about is solving this case.
There's a dead little girl, and the public has a right to know if there's a murder on the
I got
loose.
nothing to say.
Come on, then talk to me off the record. Tell me what I can and can't print off the record.
Off the record.
Turning the tape recorder off.
Off the record. What do you want to know?
Cause of death.
Can't tell you that.
Was she shot?
No.
Stabbed?
No.
So she was strangled?
You can't print that.
Can I print that she wasn't shot or stabbed?
Yes, but you burned me on this there, I'll never speak another word to you, so help me God. Not one word.
The decedent is wearing a long-sleeved, white, collarless shirt. Tied loosely around the right wrist, overlaying the sleeve of the shirt, is a white cord.
Do you ever mention that before? He'd broken into his own basement?
No.
And you believe him, that he'd do something like that?
Of course. Why would he lie?
Okay. So the two of you come through the room with the broken window, you go through the boiler room towards the door at the end, and Ramsey's ahead of you, is that right?
Exactly. Like earlier.
Like earlier? What do you mean? Were you two down there before?
Not John. Me. I told you that. Or did I tell the woman detective? Maybe I told one of the uniformed policemen. I know I told somebody.
Well, tell me now.
Well, a few minutes after my wife and I got there, I searched the house. You know, room by room. John Bonet. John. Then I went down into the basement, and that was the first time I saw the broken window. Actually, I picked up off of the floor a shard of glass and placed it on the window ledge. Then I went through the boiler room to the room at the back. I opened the door.
You opened the door?
Yes, but I didn't see anything. The room was pitch black. I felt around for a light switch, and when I didn't find one, I went back upstairs.
Did you see anything?
The room was pitch black.
Mr. White, what time was this?
Maybe 6:30. Somebody got into that house. I don't know how, but they did. They wanted to hurt that family. They're a beautiful family. And she was the most beautiful child.
I wanna be a cowboy sweetheart. I want to learn to rope and to ride. Down on the plains and dance across the great divide.
Good. Let's do it again. And again and again and again. Crossover.
I wanna be a cowboy sweetheart. I want to learn to rope and to ride.
The pageants were Patsy's gigs. Well, she had the money, she had the costumes. And she had John Bonet. You've got the picture right there.
Wrapped around the neck is a length of white cord, which is flattened and measures approximately a 1/4 inch in width. It appears to be consistent with the cord that is around the wrist. This wooden stick is irregularly broken at both ends, and there are several colors of paint and glistening varnish on the surface. Fluorescent examination indicates smears of residue on upper right thigh. Marking is item 24.
I hear she's still wet the bed. Is that true?
Oh, yeah. Every morning. When I came in, Patsy already had the sheets off the bed and into the washer. The blanket was already in the dryer. Which blanket? John Bonet has her own special white blanket.
Did Patsy ever get upset by all this bedwetting? I mean, day after day washing those sheets?
What's the big deal? The washer's right outside the bedroom.
Do you ever notice any unexplained bruises?
Unexplained?
You know, a bruise that doesn't look like it was made by a fall or a bump.
No.
Did she ever complain to you about being hit by either of her parents?
No.
Did you ever see Patsy or John raise a hand to her?
Never. Never. You don't understand these people. Patsy is just a sweet person. She spends every spare minute with those kids. Bedtime stories, school projects, whatever they needed. The Ramseys loved their children.
As a typical kidnapping ransom note you might find in any movie scenario.
Investigative sources have told us the note directed the family to pay $118,000. It also mentioned future demands, conditions the police planned on meeting. The Boulder police held an 11 o'clock press conference this morning.
There wasn't a thorough search of the house conducted initially. It's a fairly large structure, and we had no reason to believe the child was in the house at that time. We were treating it as a kidnapping for ransom, based on the statements of the parents and on the contents of the note. John Eller. Yeah, Captain. Yeah, well, I really appreciate the offer, Captain, but I don't want you to have to leave Denver short-handed, not with all the murders you have over there. I will, and thanks for calling. Back. Everybody's being so damn generous. Denver PD, Sheriff's Office, even the FBI wants to hold our hand. So what do you got? John Eller. Go ahead. Preliminary test indicates that the ransom note was written on paper, torn from a pad, found in the Ramsey house. Thanks. Did you get that?
Got it.
What else?
As of now, we have no indication of forced entry, but the burglar alarm was off and lots of people seem to have keys. Meyer found a subdermal hematoma below a skull fracture, so it's possible a blow to the head contributed to her death, but it might have been the rope around her neck is what killed her, and we still have no idea what room she was killed in.
The coroner sent a bunch of samples to the CBI labs, and one of them from her thigh. Looks like it might be semen.
Seaman. Okay. I want the Ramsey's questioned as soon as possible.
You know, Walker doesn't think there ever was a kidnapping.
Well, I got a lot of questions, and I sure wish we could have asked them yesterday.
Don't count on getting a whole lot from the mother. The lawyer says she's heavily medicated.
Good evening, I'm Michael Bynum. I'm a friend of John's and general counsel for Access Graphics. Please come in.
Lindar.
They're, broken-hearted. Doesn't even begin to express how they feel.
Larry Mason, Boulder Police.
Jeff Ramsey. Sergeant Mason, Detective Arndt, this is John's brother, Jeff.
Mr. Ramsey, may I?
Sure.
Well, sir. First thing that we want you to know is that your help and your wife's help absolutely vital in helping us find the killer.
What we need to do is go minute by minute through the other night and yesterday morning.
Now?
Well, sir, yes.
Well, yes, sir, absolutely, now. Now, we found these things, Mr. Ramsey, now, and these that the sooner you get going, the better, while memory's still fresh.
All I'm thinking about right now is my wife, your family. You saw her.
Yes, sir, we understand, but for our purposes, we have to move on
I
this
can't
thing.
think straight right now. Can I call you with a good time for both of us? I would appreciate that.
The death of 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey has put a cloud over this quiet Boulder community. It is the city's first homicide of 1996. And the fact that this talented little girl was found strangled to death in her own home in an upscale neighborhood has many in shock.
It doesn't seem random to me somehow. It seems like there's something fishy kind of behind it. And that's what's really kind of shocking. Not that it would happen there on 15th Street, which is a nice part of town, but just that it would be, I don't know, it just kind of gives me the creeps.
Well, so far our A-list includes the housekeeper, the gardener, Santa Claus, the seamstress, the Fernies, the Whites, and of course all of the Ramseys.
Yeah. Yeah, hold on.
Linda Arndt. Hello, Mr. Bynum. Sir, can I put you on the speaker? That way there'll be no misunderstanding. Okay, Mr. Bynum, will you repeat what you just said?
Certainly. In my capacity as a friend, I've advised John and Patsy Ramsey not to give any testimonial evidence until they have chosen a lawyer.
Mr. Bynum, I'm going to put Larry Mason on. You remember him?
Mr. Bynum, the Ramseys have yet to retain a criminal attorney?
Not yet. I also want to inform you that right after the memorial service here tomorrow, they're taking the body to Atlanta for burial.
In that case, we would like the Ramseys to come in today so that we can collect non-testimonial evidence. Fingerprints, saliva, hair, handwriting, blood.
I'll have them available by late afternoon.
See you later.
Mr. Thomas, let's help find who killed my baby.
Mr. Ramsey, could you complete the handwriting sample, sir?
Just because you haven't interviewed the Ramseys, you can't use the body as a weapon. It's not right.
I don't care.
It's unethical.
I don't care.
It's flat out illegal.
It's a police matter. Mason, instruct the coroner not to release the body.
I won't. I can't break the law.
You either get on board or you get the hell out.
That's your call. And you got it.
Illegal. It's illegal.
John Meyer. John. Yeah, it's John Eller. Listen, why don't you take another day or two with the Ramsey child? You might find some additional evidence. Yeah, well, then I'm asking you to hold the body. As a person... Well, then I'm telling you, do it!
Just one more saliva sample before we're done.
I did not kill my baby.
Brian,
Thank
what's
you.
a year?
What's that?
What's a year?
A year. Well, that is the amount of time it takes for the Earth to make a complete trip around the sun.
So I've been around the sun almost 6 times.
I guess you have, yeah.
How many trips have you made?
Oh, well, I've been around 27 times.
So many trips.
Yep. So many trips.
Roses. Whoa, that's a big rose. Ow. Brian, do roses know their thorns can hurt?
Well, I don't know if they know they can hurt. The thorn's there to protect the rose from animals. Let me see. Oh. Don't pick up the leaves, Joan Benet said to me. I want to play with them. She said her daddy and her did that last year. And, you know, quietly, she said, I wish he was around more. I really miss him. My God, then she started to cry. I mean, the tears are just rolling down her face. I miss him a lot, she said.
The murder of John Benet Ramsey of Little Miss, Colorado, 1995, has raised many questions regarding her involvement in the child beauty pageant world. One of the murdered child's dance instructors has suggested that the provocative nature of John Benet's performance was encouraged by her mother, herself a former Miss West Virginia. Critics argue these pageants sexualize young girls and inadvertently are creating a hunting ground for sexual predators.
Mr. Ramsey, who do you suspect might have killed your daughter? Are you going to see
I said stay back. Hey, you're supposed to catch criminals, not protect them. live in a cruel world. And the cruelty has already begun. There are already venomous rumors starting to circulate. Let me just say this to all of you right now. Nobody in this family had anything to do with this child's death. So we can only pray that this terrible thing can be resolved soon, so that this family can find some measure of peace in the knowledge that their child is with God, just as God is with them.
She was the most thoughtful little girl.
She was beautiful. Thank you.
I'll always treasure her.
Patsy, I don't know what to say. She was so beautiful last time I saw her.
The last time I saw her, she was dead and cold.
The tiny body of 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey seems light compared to the heavy hearts at her funeral. Her parents, John and Patsy, brought her back to their former Atlanta church, a place they used to call home. Family held one another tight, huddled close.
Patsy told me that JonBenét and she sang together, wherever we go, whatever we do, we're gonna go through it together.
JonBenét was found murdered in her Boulder, Colorado home the day after Christmas. The Little Miss Colorado beauty queen's life ended in strangulation. Today, her casket parted through
And then, I just realized that was the last time I heard her voice. Just baking cookies and making jewelry.
You can't have lawyers talk for you.
You do the talking. Clete, you do not grasp our situation. We have been hammered by all kinds of ugly rumors.
I'm sorry, but when you go and hire lawyers and a public relations representative, and you refuse to talk to the police, you hand people a perfect opportunity to think the worst. You have to go back to Boulder and cooperate with the police.
Clete, please, this
is unthinkable, John. Don't hire lawyers before you talk to the police. What will anybody think of parents who defend themselves to attorneys when the body of their murdered child is barely cold?
John, please.
Just get away from my
accomplish anything by shouting.
The top Boulder legal expert warned yesterday there was nothing inappropriate about John and Patsy Ramsey leaving the state to attend the young beauty queen's funeral in Atlanta. And now today's half.
Dad, the great thing about narcotics is that there are no mysteries. I mean, the only question is what day and what time the dope shipment arrives. Hey, Karina, is this steak almost finished? Because I gotta go in like an hour.
I thought what you really liked about narcotics was running around in those silly disguises. First time I met him, I actually thought he was a hippie burglar.
He'd be a great burglar. Oh, thanks a lot, Dad. Uh-oh.
And Shane Foley's in at the control.
Here you go. Thanks. Go. Karina, medium rare.
Actually, I think he would have made a very bad burglar. Always dropping things.
Commander Elder, please. Steve Thomas.
Hi. No. Yeah, I'll put it on right now. All right.
Can I need a remote?
What channel is CNN on?
17.
17.
For our grief to resolve itself, we now have to find out why this happened.
There's been some question as to why you hired a defense attorney.
It's not just an attorney. We're also assembling an investigative team. I want the best minds this country has available to help us resolve
What is he talking about? We're the investigative team. What is he talking about?
Outsiders outside of your family or circle of friends?
Yes. Our family is a loving family. It's a gentle family. We have lost one child. We know how precious their lives are.
The police interviewed you?
All day. On the day of her death. For hours, they asked us questions. There is a killer on the loose.
Absolutely.
If I were a resident of Boulder, I would tell my friends to keep your babies close to you.
For God's sakes.
Oh, turn it back on. I want to hear this.
What's there to hear, Dad? I mean, they're too deep in grief to talk to us, but they could talk on TV? I mean, they could go on TV and talk and talk and talk.
I want to hear this, Steve.
Fine.
At least John Bonet will never have to know cancer or the death of a child.
Yes.
There's a killer on the loose. Keep your children close. They make me sick.
Oh, I don't know. It's as dumb as hell, but they just lost a child. Now, maybe they're not thinking smart.
You believe them?
Well, I don't know if I believe them or not. But I don't disbelieve them either.
Excuse me, were you in John Bonet's class? Excuse me, did you ever go to the Ramsey house to play? Excuse me, could you help us just by answering a couple questions?
Sweetheart, what's your name? Tell us your name.
Did you ever play with John Bonet?
Let the kids into school, folks. Please stay back.
And what's important is you know all of us are here for you. Don't be afraid to come talk to us. That goes for parents, too. Nobody is too busy for you, okay? Yes, Jillian.
We only live 2 blocks away from John Bonet. What if the bad person comes to our house?
I promise you, he won't. I can't even remember when something like this ever happened before. Nobody can. Tonight, you should all feel safe. Yes,
Yeah, John Bonet's parents could have told her that too.
that's true. And they would have been right. This is a rare occurrence. Okay, wait just a second. Now, I think it might be a good idea if we made some drawings about our feelings, okay?
While police try to solve this crime, people in the community wait to hear answers. One woman stopped by the house on her lunch break today to place some dried sage near the family's home.
It brings up a lot of issues, and it brings a lot of hurt, anger, that somebody could take somebody else's life, especially a little girl that had her whole life ahead of them.
Boulder's mayor felt compelled to attend the news briefing.
People in Boulder have no need to fear that there is someone wandering the streets of Boulder, has been portrayed by some people, particularly in talk radio, looking for young children to attack. Boulder is safe. It's always been a safe community. It continues to be a safe community.
She admits, though, she's received no information from police, and she's basing her reassurances on media reports that there was no forced entry to the home and that the killer probably had to know the layout of the house fairly well.
The detectives expressed frustration about conducting an investigation under the spotlight of the media.
Boulder citizens we talked with seem more interested than fearful of the case.
Now, Professor, you teach criminal law at the university. What do you make of the fact that John and Patsy Ramsey have gone and hired separate lawyers?
Oh, I wouldn't make too much of that. It's really not unusual for husband and wife to have their own lawyers.
Under the law, they're not treated like a unit. They're separate individuals. It's possible that their interests might even conflict.
But don't you think it makes them appear more suspicious?
Yeah, out there in the world, people imagine that they ought to distrust someone who hires defense counsel. They imagine that criminal lawyers are only for the guilty and the innocent don't have any need for them. But that's a mistake, a foolish mistake.
I'd say she behaved like a mother under terrible stress, but is it innocent stress or guilty stress? I couldn't tell.
Eller's group seems to have made up their minds. Is one Ramsey or the other?
Pray not. Thanks. Hello, Alex.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hawaii agreed with you, I can see by your shirt.
It's my Saturday shirt.
I knew you had a system.
Okay, how do we look? We talking days, weeks, months?
Months. The police just finished 9 days searching the house. They logged over 800 items. It's a long road.
Anything point to anything?
More towards somebody from inside the house rather than an intruder, but until the police do a lot more work, I'd make no assumptions.
Autopsy, what did that give us?
Vaginal bruising, some stains that look like semen, but the test results haven't gotten back yet.
And where are we with the Ramseys?
Hair, blood, handwriting samples, but no interviews, not yet. They're barricaded behind their attorneys.
Yeah, the rich are circling the wagons around themselves.
John Eller's here.
Send him in. John, good to see you.
According to reliable sources, John Bonet was garroted. According to authoritative sources, the ransom demand was for a peculiar amount. According to reputable sources, the paper the note was written on came from inside the Ramsey house. According to unimpeachable sources, the police left a lone detective in the house for 3 hours with 9 suspects. Suspects the detective could not control. This stuff is killing us, and your office is leaking it.
We're not leaking anything.
Like hell.
Oh, it happens that we talk to the press more often than you do, which has served us pretty well for the last 25 years.
No, that's your way, not ours. Anything that gets out hurts us. If it's accurate, it tips off the killer. If it's derogatory, it ruins us with potential witnesses. These stories make us look like the Keystone Cops.
All right. Turn off your flamethrower. What is it you really want?
The Ramseys have hired Brian Morgan. We're having no luck with them. Tell the Ramseys to talk to us.
I'll do what I can. Anything else?
We can't do that, John. If the victim's parents were dirt poor, any decent public defender would still advise them not to speak to you. All the Ramseys are doing is exercising their constitutional right.
They don't have any rights. Constitutional rights are for people who've been charged. Nobody's charged the Ramseys. Not yet.
If they're not suspects, they're witnesses. And under Colorado law, witnesses have even more rights to refuse to talk to you. Or have you forgotten that, Commander?
Damn it. Which side are you on?
Always a pleasure, John.
Peter, you're asking the Ramseys to cooperate with a man who behaved exactly like a kidnapper. John Eller was ready to hold their child's body until he got his interview.
Brian, cut the crap. We've always been square with each other. You can explain to the Ramseys that Eller's just an old-fashioned cop under enormous pressure in a high-profile case, but he still wants what we all want, to catch John Bonet's killer.
And it might be easier to persuade Patsy if we could all agree to let the interview take place at a neutral site.
Right.
It's a white house somewhere around here. I don't know. It said it had a big circle driveway.
She must have been 6 when these were taken.
Do you believe in miracles? I didn't. But I was wrong. In the summer of 1993, Patsy was in stage 4 of ovarian cancer. And stage 4 supposedly kills you. Okay, my little baby doll. I want you to give this to Mommy. She's gonna really like that.
I bet I will.
Uh-huh. You be a good girl.
Boy, that looks good.
Oh. Is it
good?
It's delicious. Can you say that, Johnny P?
What is it delicious?
It is very tasty. What Grandma made is delicious.
Now, is it, delectable?
Oh, it is for sure delectable.
What's delectable?
Well, delectable is delicious plus plus, just like you, Angel.
Delicious plus plus? Cool. Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
In May of 1994, she got well. The main thing that saved her was her family, her husband, and her children, and especially Jean-Benet.
Mrs. Paul, having spent a lot of time visiting with your daughter, did you ever notice anything odd about Jean-Benet's toilet habits?
Yes, you mean, when she would ask for any grown-up within shouting distance to wipe her?
Any grown-up?
No shame whatsoever.
And anyone she called would wipe her?
Oh, no. There's some people who thought she was old enough to wipe herself. But a doctor said that because of the regressed potty training because of Patsy's illness, this was not abnormal.
Did you ever notice anyone go out of his way to wipe her?
Who in the world would do that?
Well, here we have a child who asks grown-ups to wipe her private parts. Is it possible someone might see that as an invitation?
Oh, I'm not sure that I like what you're implying, sir.
I'm not implying anything, Mrs. Paul. I'm just asking.
This conversation is definitely over. I'd appreciate it if you left.
The phone is ringing at a steady pace at this newsstand in Boulder. Most people are calling to voice their support. Eads News and Smoke Shop will drop the edition of the Globe that comes out on Monday. Eads had planned to carry the issue with crime scene photos of Jean-Benet Ramsey. But late in the day, store managers changed their minds.
They just felt as if it wasn't in their interest to carry something like that. We're in support of the Ramsey family.
Pete Roos says it doesn't matter who will or won't be selling the issue. He won't be reading it anyway.
That's just pushing it too far. A little decency would be good.
Globe spokesperson Tony Frost says that is not the case.
We took very careful consideration before publishing these photographs. We had a large selection to choose from, and we chose what we feel are the less sensational ones.
From the beginning, sources have told News 4 catching the killer would mean proving forensic evidence found inside the Ramsey home. That includes bodily fluids found on Jean-Benet Ramsey and elsewhere in the house. Publicly, police will not say when that lab work will be finished.
Here, grist for your mom. Why the hand delivery?
Alex, you need to know Boulder PD has requested we no longer copy you on our findings in the Ramsey case.
Wait a minute. Eller's withholding evidence from us?
Pete, I don't take sides. You and Kobe's people need to get on the same page in this case.
Thanks for the heads up. What does this say? A residue on her thigh was not semen?
Smeared blood.
You sure?
We're sure.
Then there's no evidence any male ejaculated on the child's body.
Right.
How did Ella react?
I'm told he was counting on it being semen. John Ramsey semen.
Pete, there was vaginal bruising. Doesn't that indicate some kind of sexual contact?
Yeah, you could make a case for that, but without ejaculation of some kind, the defense could argue that the bruising came from anything, from child masturbation or riding a new bike.
If I were the defense attorney, heaven forbid, that's what I'd argue. You want to link this killing to a molestation, you got a real steep hill to climb.
1, there's no evidence of forced entry. 2, the ransom demand is for $118,000, which is exactly the same as John Ramsey's bonus, which it's unlikely that anyone else would know about that except someone in the family. 3, everything that we have found has pointed to Patsy Ramsey as the buyer of the cord and the duct tape. 4, the paper used for the ransom note came from one of Patsy Ramsey's own writing pads. And 5, the handwriting analysis of the ransom note excludes every single person that we have tested to date except for Patsy Ramsey. Now, we think we have enough probable cause for an arrest, and we would like your support in drafting up an arrest warrant immediately.
Steve, I think you left a few things out. For instance, the open cellar window had a scuff mark below it and a suitcase below that.
Yeah?
Well, face it, you can't say for sure that Patsy Ramsey wrote that note. And you can't say for sure that she bought the tape or the cord. And even if she did, are you saying that she bought it with the intent to commit the crime? You can't prove that someone else didn't enter that house that night. You don't know where the child was killed and what the weapon was. You don't have a makeable case. You're not even close.
Let us arrest her, put her into the system, and I promise you, when Patsy Ramsey is mugged and printed, and when the flash goes off in her face and the cell door slams shut behind her, she will fold, she will beg.
No, if she begs at all, it'll be for her lawyer. The moment when Patsy Ramsey might have given it up is long gone.
At least let us try.
You've as much as admitted you want to arrest her to coerce a confession out of her. We can't permit that.
Alex, this is done all the time.
Not by me.
Bring us a case.
Newsroom, please. Julie, hi, it's me. Well, it's pretty messy. We're getting nowhere with Hunter's office. Blood all over the floor. Mostly ours.
Steve Thomas. Okay. Yeah, that's our case. Okay, slow down, slow down. Wolf. What's his first name? Chris. And tell me why you think he was involved. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What's your name? Jackie Dilson.
We went to a party, but then he wouldn't eat dinner with me, so I went to bed alone. So I wake up around 5:30.
This is the morning of the 26th.
Right. I wake up around 5:30 and Chris is in the shower, and his jeans and his sweater on the floor, and they're filthy. Now, how did they get filthy? Then that night, we're watching the news, and we hear that the kid is dead, and he goes ballistic. I hope the bastard dies. He was abusing her. There's nothing too evil for him. He's talking about the father. Then the next day, he's like a caged animal. All he does all day long is pace. Pace, pace, pace.
Hey, legendary Boulder police. Don't catch child killers, but they sure can't put the cuffs on traffic violators. They can sure do that.
We want your help, Chris.
Beautiful. Boulder police wants my help, so they busted me. Why should I help?
Because you have a suspended license, and we can't ask a judge to let us confiscate your car.
No judge will do that.
You willing to take that kind of chance?
What do you want? No. Sit down.
What do you mean, no?
No. N-O. No. I had nothing to do with it, and I'm not going to copy this.
Well, if you didn't have anything to do with the crime, then what are you so afraid of?
I'm just not gonna take orders from you. You save it for the Mollies and the Hill Rats that you round up on Saturday nights.
Hey, Chris, smile.
No. Pull your head up.
Pull your head up!
You like this wolf guy at all, or does he just piss you off? If you like him, we'll work him. If you're just pissed off, I don't want to waste any more time with this creep.
He's here. Let's get samples.
We can't unless we tie him to the Ramsey case. You want to spend half a day going through every minute of his life?
No. I don't want to waste my time on this bastard.
Let's book him on a suspended license.
Flight 57 from Miami can be claimed on Carousel 13. Baggage for Flight 57 from Miami can be claimed on Carousel 13.
Jeff.
Craig,
Hey,
there you are.
sorry I'm late.
No problem.
I brought you some pictures.
Yeah.
These are all the players of the different people in Boulder.
Yeah?
Now listen, I just want you to know that you're not under any kind of time pressure here. Don't feel like you've got to go out and turn up the story of the year your first day.
Okay.
Just take it easy, take your time, and try to make good sources.
Oh, I have written for newspapers before,
Yeah,
so.
but you've never covered a case like this before.
Okay.
You've got all my numbers, right?
Yeah.
Give me a call.
All right, thanks,
See
Craig.
you.
According to
our sources, the Boulder police believe they have more than enough evidence to arrest Patsy Ramsey in the death of her 6-year-old daughter. The prosecutor, Alex Hunter, refuses to back them up. He claims there is insufficient evidence.
Julie, did your sources tell us anything about that evidence?
Well, they're being pretty coy about it, George, but they did indicate that they were searching for a history of sexual abuse in the family.
Well, Megan, did you and John Bonet play anywhere else? Did you play in the bathroom?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Honey, didn't you have a game you played in the tub?
Did you ever play doctor in the tub?
I don't know.
Did you and John Bonet have any secrets?
I don't have any.
It's okay to have secrets.
I don't have any secrets.
Are you sure? I have secrets with all my girlfriends.
Honey, listen. Why don't you do Mommy a favor? Go into the kitchen and see if they have any extra cookies. Hey. Give the nice lady back her badge. And say thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Excuse me, I wasn't quite done with her.
You don't have children, do you?
What's that got to do with it?
Look, I was just trying to save us a little bit of time, all right? I was hoping that Megan would tell you that the day before Christmas, when John Bonet was at our house, she had Megan all excited because she told her that Santa Claus was going to come visit her after Christmas. And I said, no, sweetie, Christmas is tonight. Santa Claus comes tonight. And she said, no. My Santa Claus told me yesterday that he was going to pay me a secret visit after Christmas.
Bill, nobody's gonna give you a hard time about a casual promise you made to a child at a party.
I never spoke to John Bonet about visiting her after Christmas.
Are you sure you didn't say something like, I'll see you after the holidays?
Well, one thing I've learned playing Santa, you don't make casual promises to a child.
Why would she say what she said then?
Because she's 6 years old. 6-year-olds like to brag. They especially like to brag about how tight they are with Santa.
You have no objection if we talk to all the people you say visited you on Christmas Day, do you?
No.
Or if we talk to your doctor about your condition since your heart surgery?
No.
You wouldn't mind coming in to give us hair, blood, and handwriting samples?
Why should I mind? I'm innocent.
All right, listen up. Ladies and gentlemen, the CBI Bureau just found a hair. And they found it on the white blanket the little girl's body was lying on. So, I want pubic and body hair samples from everybody. I want them yesterday. The sooner we match this, the sooner we're home.
I better get back.
Heading into court, media attorney Tom Kelly argued the autopsy report of Jean Benet Ramsey should be made public.
The right to know is the right to know today.
The autopsy report contains several important details.
According to several sources, because police failed to secure the Ramsey home until after the body was found.
Another source said that the first detective on the scene, a specialist in sex crimes, was so busy treating the Ramseys as victims, she never took care of business.
There is not one story that doesn't make me out to be the person that screwed everything up. It's not fair. Say the stories are lies. You have got to protect me.
Linda, you know that my policy is we do not discuss details of investigations with the press.
You're hanging me out there, Chief.
You know, if it bothers you that much, Linda, I can always take off the case, or I'll just reassign you.
Once again, the Boulder police are denying new reports that they are trying to negotiate terms for an interview with the Ramseys.
Look, whether you leaked this stuff to the media or you gave it to the Ramseys lawyers, it doesn't matter. We are not going to share information with you from now on.
He shut us down a long time ago. The CBI was told to withhold its lab results from us.
Under Colorado law, we don't have to work with you. We can kick your ass out of this case. When our job is done, we'll bring the case material over.
If you don't plan to share information, just how are we supposed to proceed?
We do what we want. And if we need your help on the law, we call you.
He lets his people get so obsessed with the Ramseys, they won't even see another possibility. They ignore facts they don't like, They never discuss exculpatory evidence with us, and as soon as a suspect has a half-baked alibi, he's cleared. Kobe, do you understand what that means? You will never deliver what we need to prosecute this case. No sharing means the killer will walk. Is that okay with you?
No, that's not okay with him, just as it's not okay with us. Tom, what do we do?
What do? We let Eller investigate. That's what we do. And when he's finished, we let you prosecute. But in the meantime, why don't you and I hold a joint press conference and show the world that we're still on the same side?
No. If the police want to go it alone, let Kobe go to the press alone.
All right, well, how about we set up a joint war room right here in the Justice Center with everything we have, computers, files, the whole 9 yards, and our people and your people get together for status reports. What about that?
So you're saying you will share your information with us?
Well, I'm sure that Eller will want to limit accessibility to the computers to his guys, and he'll want to decide what information we pass on to you. But guys, come on, we're going to be reasonable. We know sooner or later you're going to get the case.
I don't want to depend on John Eller. Maybe we'll hire our own investigator to review the case from a defense point of view, see what we're up against.
Well, I don't know if Eller will be happy about that.
Well, then he won't. Look, to tell you the truth, one of Eller's own detectives suggested Lou Smith just a couple of weeks ago. Before he retired, he closed over 150 murder cases. He's a legend.
We'll make sure he stays on your side of the field.
MSNBC's all over this.
Who's handing this off to Rather?
How long we gonna be up on the bird?
3 minutes for the nightly news.
What's that?
Uniform Walters is flying in some shit. He looked like the original Oz couple.
I have a gut feeling about this case that I don't usually get. And that is that we're going to solve this case. I am not going to file charges until I feel I have it. The road to justice will not be paved with shortcuts. I want to say something through you. I want to say something to the person or persons who committed this crime. To the person or persons who took this baby from us. The list of suspects narrows. Soon no one will be on that list but you. You have stripped us of any mercy we might have had at the beginning of this investigation. We are going to see that justice is served and that you pay for what you did. We will ensure that justice will be served for this community, for this nation, and most importantly, for JonBenét.
Did a great job, Alex. Really great.
You did it again.
You must know something that I don't know to sound so confident. I didn't know we were that close.
I might have gotten a little carried away.
Well, when making a profile, the FBI will begin by explaining to you that your daughter was at a low risk of being killed by a stranger. She was in bed, at home, in a good neighborhood. Both her parents are in the house. What stranger takes a chance invading a house under those conditions? And on top of that, JonBenét rarely came in contact with strangers.
That's not true. She met strangers all the time at the pageants.
Are you sure about that, Mrs. Ramsey? Didn't you keep a pretty close eye on her?
How can you be sure that the FBI profilers would tell the Boulder police that somebody in our house killed our daughter?
Look, Mr. Ramsey, after heading the behavioral science unit for 15 years, I can tell you that what they'll suggest, without saying it, is that either you or your wife was involved in the killing, the cover-up, or both.
Just because we were home?
No, they see a lot more than that. They see the note, the cord, the tape, the noose, and all those things tell the profilers that the killer had no fear of being discovered during the crime. He or she felt absolutely comfortable in your house. Tying the cord around JonBenét's neck took time, Mr. Ramsey. Carrying her body down to the wine cellar and wrapping her in a blanket took time.
But the perpetrator was in the cellar with her. Nobody could hear him down there.
He could take all the time he wanted.
Maybe. But the most important piece of behavioral evidence is still the note. When was it written? If it was written before, then maybe it's an attempted kidnapping. But if it was a kidnapping and it went wrong, why leave a note and take the chance that the police can identify the handwriting? So when was it written? Well, I can tell you this. The length points to it being written by someone who was in no hurry to get the hell out of your house. Now, trust me, this is a crime scene analysis, and based purely on that, the profilers are bound to like the two of you for the killings. But I've interviewed you and they haven't. You're what's missing from their appraisal.
Yes. We have been missing. I think it's time. Brian, what's happening with negotiations for our interviews with the police?
They're moving slowly.
Can we speed them up?
Not without making lots of concessions.
If we have to, make them. It's time the police heard our side of the story. If John Douglas here believes we're innocent, why shouldn't they?
Did you see the article in the Rocky Mountain News? Our sources say when the police arrived at the Ramseys' house the morning of the murders, they found no footprints in the snow. That's a terrible distortion.
It is a distortion. There were footprints.
These leaks make it look like the killer was inside the house all night, meaning a Ramsey, and they're coming from your guys.
You don't know that.
Come on, be real. Eller and his boys are sabotaging any case we bring in except a Ramsey. What if I get enough hard evidence to indict someone else? How do I stop a defense lawyer from making a case against the Ramseys to save his client?
Oh, come on, that's a stretch, Alex.
Not at all. Eller's created an atmosphere in which no other target is possible except the Ramseys. I tell you, he's not doing the job, and you've got to do something.
Like what?
Move Eller out.
Oh, I can't do that. It'll look like the media put pressure on me to dump him.
He won't get it done, Tom.
All right, I'll lean on him to widen the investigation, but Alex, I'm not going to dump him. I can't do that. Come on.
I just don't think it's a good idea, that's all.
I think it'll work out fine if I could just have your support on it.
You have my support.
All right, then.
Sure, I 100%.
Good morning, everyone. May I introduce Lou Smith, who worked homicide in Colorado Springs for the last 30 years. As Chief Kobe and I have agreed, he'll be cataloging and reviewing the case for prosecution.
This guy going to run our case from
Thank you,
the
Alex.
back seat?
On my watch.
Listen, we're going to have regularly scheduled status meetings here in our new war room to swap information. And I should also mention that Pete here is in close contact with the Ramseys' lawyers to get their clients to agree to an interview with our office. So anything you need, let us know. All right?
Where do we start?
You know what the cops in Charlotte are telling me about this guy? I can just imagine. He's completely out of his mind. Breaks into this house, takes this 2-year-old out of her crib within earshot of a babysitter, takes her outside, molests her, stuffs a cloth in her mouth and wraps her up in a blanket, leaves her for dead in a dumpster. Luckily, she lives. Then when they find him, he has this private shrine to John Bonet in his room. Masturbates in front of her pictures.
I can't wait to meet him. What gate are we at?
B3.
John, I need some help here. Can you see your way clear, waving your rights and working with us? Are you up for that?
As long as it's not about why I'm in here in the first place, sure.
John, you know we can't always control where the questioning might
Then the answer is no.
Okay, I give you my word that if we actually...
The answer is still no.
Okay, Eustace. We confine ourselves to Jean Bonet. Before we ask you for anything.
You want more hair? Is that enough? Wasn't there a note? There was, I'm sure of it, so handwriting, no? Any particular passage? Speaking to anyone, police, FBI, will result in your daughter being beheaded. How much of this crap do you want?
That's enough for now. Can we get some saliva?
Sure.
Thank you.
John, where were you on Christmas night, the 25th, 26th of December?
Here, take another sip.
I worked midnight to 9:30 at the Qualix plant in Charlotte. Check the clock.
Time clock's not enough. We need corroboration.
You're way too eager to hang me.
John, can we get a pubic hair?
No pubic hair.
Trip, take a look at these marks. Here on her back. Here below the ear. Look at the distances between them. They look the same to you?
Pretty close. What do you think they are?
What about a stun gun?
How are you?
Hi, are you Alex?
Yes, I am.
Hi, I'm Jeff Shapiro, reporter working on the Ramsey case.
How do you do? For who?
National newspaper?
Oh, I see.
Yeah. This is called Code of Silence. I wrote about the O.J. Simpson trial. Very interesting subject. You should check it out.
Well, I will. Thank you.
How's this case going? Close to an arrest?
No.
The rumors that pedophilia is an area you're going to explore. Any truth to that?
Well, we explore every area.
Is it true that the stuff found on her body wasn't semen?
You'd have to ask the police.
But isn't it true that you and the police are on the best of terms?
Oh, absolutely not. Geez, I gotta run. Thanks for this. Let's talk again.
Oh, okay. No, Joe, I didn't tell him. Okay, you don't have to yell, all right? I'll just go back and take care of it. Just tell me what you want. Okay, rumors that the Ramseys and Whites are feuding. Okay, what else? Okay, whether the ransom note threatened her with beheading. And more about pedophilia. Done. Taken care of. Okay? Okay. Hi, Alex Hunter, please. My name is Jeff Shapiro.
Okay.
Hi, Jeff. Come on back.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
So this is all brand new. See, they let me keep my old office furniture when they moved us in here about 19 years ago.
It's very nice. Mr. Hunter, I wasn't straight with you the other day. I work for the Globe.
I know. I just got off the phone with your editor.
Wait, you talked to Joe Mullins? I thought you weren't talking to the tabloids because you were furious at the Globe for publishing the crime scene photos.
I was, and I am. Doesn't mean I won't still talk to Joe Mullins, or to you for that matter.
Really? Okay,
Have a seat.
Okay, I heard a rumor that the ransom note threatened beheading. Is there anything to that?
I can't talk about the contents of the note.
Okay. What did you mean when you said you were going to explore pedophilia?
Don't be naive. You got a beautiful 6-year-old girl with a history of appearances in children's beauty pageants. How could we not explore pedophilia?
Are you exploring the pageants?
Well, we'd love to, but we don't have any useful sources in that world, and even if we had them, we couldn't pay anybody. Not the way the tabloids can if they want to.
It is an interesting area.
There are lots of interesting areas in this case, Jeff. And maybe in time, you'll find something of interest to me.
Okay. Boulder Police asked the FBI Child Abduction and Serial Killer Unit to review the conditions for a Ramsey interview. The FBI's conclusion? The conditions were unacceptable. The Ramseys say they're still willing to talk to Boulder authorities, at least for now. The Boulder Police say they still want to talk to the Ramseys, as long as the conditions laid down lead to what in their estimation would be worthwhile interviews.
The interviews will be conducted by 2 Boulder police detectives chosen in consultation with Alex.
Are Alex's own investigators eligible?
No, strictly Boulder PD. It's their case. Okay?
We know it's their case. Eller does nothing but rub our noses in that.
Okay? Brian, is that okay?
Can you sit in as an observer?
It's up to the police, but I will ask. Now, we have to talk about location. It has to be someplace official.
We'd find your offices acceptable.
Okay, our offices. All right, we're all agreed on April 30th, starting at 9.
That's fine.
Thank you. Four months of work for one interview.
The autopsy report shows pineapple in the small intestines.
Patsy told Art that the last thing John Bonet ate was cracked crab at the Whites. Whereas this autopsy report shows that she could have eaten that pineapple later than that. Okay, let's not mention the pineapple. Just let Patsy lock herself into whatever story she tells. Hey, I thought you were in California.
Just landed. Look what I got. This is a section of Patsy Ramsey's 911 call that she made at 5:52 a.m. as enhanced by the supertext at Aerospace.
Who's that? Who is that? I mean, the tape's not very clear.
There were only 2 kids in that house.
Burke? The brother?
When they find her missing, they check Burke's room because sometimes she sleeps there.
Right, but she wasn't there. And they say they don't wake him up until around 7. Okay, let's see if Patsy or John mentioned this to anybody. Check that out.
No.
No. Burke's not even mentioned.
Okay. She's, crazed out of her mind. She's screaming for Jesus. She doesn't see her son.
Oh, far-fetched here.
But John answers him. Which means that he sees him and hears him. I mean, why didn't John tell anybody?
And I can't wait to see the look on their faces when...
No. No hint that this boy's voice is on the tape. Otherwise, their lawyers will just figure out how to explain it away. Just let them lock themselves into their story of what happened when she called 911.
Wait, Steve, we got them in a lie. Why not use it on...
No, there will be a proper time. Mrs. Ramsey, for the record, let me note that you are here with your attorney, Patrick Burke, for the Boulder Police Department, beside myself, Steve Thomas, Detective Trujillo, and observing for the District Attorney's Office, Peter Hofstrom. Okay, Mrs. Ramsey, can we start with the afternoon and the evening of Christmas Day?
We can try.
Okay. Now, all of you went to dinner at the Whites, is that right?
Yes.
About what time was that?
The afternoon. Nobody has Christmas dinner late.
What'd you have for dinner?
I'm not sure. Something Christmassy.
And about what time did you leave?
Let me think. We left Fleet and Priscilla. We stopped by the Walkers and then the Steins. So we got home probably around 10, which means that we left the Whites, I'd say at 9. Does that sound right to you? She fell asleep in the car. My husband carried her up to her bedroom.
And then you went upstairs to say goodnight to her?
Yes, to kiss her goodnight. I undressed her as well. John had just taken off her shoes. He then went downstairs. Burke was playing with one of his presents, and John went down to get him ready for bed.
Did John Bonet wake up?
No,
Not even when you undressed her?
kids sleep through that all the time.
What was the last thing John Bonet ate? Do you recall?
Whatever it was that we ate at the Whites, I don't remember what it was.
Did she have anything when she got home?
Not that I remember.
On the morning of the 26th, you said you got up around 5:30. What did you wear?
A red sweater and black slacks.
Here's a photograph taken of you at the Whites from the night before. Do you see anything unusual in it?
No, not really. You see that I'm wearing the same sweater and slacks. They were just lying right where I left them the night before, so...
Then you checked John Bonet's room.
And she wasn't there.
And you said you went downstairs to look for her and you found the note. Then you ran upstairs to Burke's room. Do you recall that?
Is that what I said? It must be so.
Well, you also said that when you first got up, you stopped at the second floor to wash something. Then you went downstairs, found the note, and ran up to John Bonet's room. Can you tell us which one it was?
I don't remember. Either way, she wasn't there. She was gone.
When you got to Burke's room to look for John Bonet, did you turn on the light?
I don't remember.
Did you wake Burke up?
No.
Oh, so then he woke up on his own?
No, he didn't wake up. He stayed asleep until John sent him to the Whites.
You mean all this shouting and all this commotion didn't wake him up?
No.
Mrs. Ramsey, how do you feel about the fact that handwriting experts believe that you wrote the ransom note?
I didn't know that. Do people believe that?
Oh, why do you think the handwriting on the note looks like yours?
It looks that way because it may have been written by a woman.
And you think that this woman wrote it the way she did to make it look like your handwriting?
I couldn't say. It's possible, isn't it?
Do you think that's why she used your pad to write the note on?
My pad.
Your pad was used to write the note on.
It was? Well, I don't know what to make of that at all.
You don't?
You heard your wife cry out. You ran down, you read the note, and you told your wife to call 911.
Seems right. I couldn't swear.
And your son was asleep all this time?
Yes, until I woke him up to send him to stay with Fleet White.
When was that?
Around 7.
After your wife called 911, she called the Fernies and the Whites to come over?
Yes, and a few minutes later, the first policeman arrived. And then not long after that, John Fernie, the Whites, then Reverend Haverstock.
And you all sat there waiting for the kidnappers to call?
Well, Patsy and I answered lots of questions from the officers, and we all tried to figure out what the note meant. I spoke to my older children, my banker, and around 10 I went downstairs to check on a window.
Downstairs?
Yes, down to the cellar. There's a broken window down there, and I wanted to check it out. It was open. I may have closed it.
Did you tell any of the detectives about this window?
No.
Why not?
No special reason, I just didn't.
When you went down there, did you go into the boiler room?
No, I had no reason to. There's no window in the boiler room. Nobody could have gotten in that way.
At 1 o'clock, when Detective Varn asked you to do another search of the house, why did you go straight into the basement?
I didn't really think about it. She said, let's take a look downstairs.
Well, did you know that Fleet White went into the same room that morning and saw nothing? How do you explain that he saw nothing?
I just can't explain it.
Just a few minutes after you found your daughter's body, you called your pilot to arrange a flight out of state. Why? Why'd you do that?
I wanted to get Patsy and Burke back to Atlanta. I thought we'd be safer there.
You didn't feel safe here in Boulder?
My daughter had just been killed. Why would we feel safe?
Mr. Ramsey, have you told us the truth here today?
Yes.
How do you feel about lie detector tests?
If they're accurate, I'm for them.
Would you take one?
No.
Did you kill your daughter, Mr. Ramsey?
No. I did not. I loved her. I can't believe it was somebody we know. Everybody we know loved her.
You need to relax, man. All right? Here, take some aspirin, man. Relax.
He didn't kill anybody. But she couldn't put two sentences together without lying. And you know that's true.
No, I don't know.
Mr. Thomas, do you mind if we go back to a question you asked?
No, not at all.
During the break, I remembered what John Bonet last ate at the Whites. It was cracked crab.
Nothing else. Nothing when she got home. No pie, no ice cream, no candy.
No, she was asleep.
Mrs. Ramsey, how would you feel about taking a polygraph?
You mean a lie detector test?
Right.
I'll take 10 of them.
I'm glad to hear that, ma'am. Mrs. Ramsey, did you kill your daughter?
I did not kill my child.
Did you write the ransom note?
No. Is this the lie detector test?
No, no. It's just an example of how it might work. Who do you think killed your daughter?
I don't know. I have asked myself that a million times, and I don't know. It may be somebody who has a key. There's lots of people who have keys.
Who, for example?
The cleaning lady, for one.
Oh, she has a pretty strong alibi.
Well, the old couple across the street, they have a key. They watch our house when we're away.
Their alibi is good, too.
Mm-hmm.
The other cleaning lady, the babysitter, one of them might have done it.
Well, which one do you think is most likely?
I don't know. I just don't know.
Mrs. Ramsey, do you feel that the person who killed John Bonet deserves a second chance?
A second chance?
Pity. Forgiveness.
Oh, God, no. No.
Thank you, Mrs. Ramsey.
Ostrom! Ostrom. Let's go get a warrant now.
What would you base it on?
You're kidding. You heard the inconsistencies. You saw the behavior. She's a nonstop liar.
Assume every inconsistency points to her. Assume every evasion and deception points to her. What's her motive?
The law does not require motive.
That's true, but when you have no witnesses, no forensic evidence that's wholly clear-cut, plus a mother who has no history of mistreating her child, you'd better have a motive.
Anywhere else we could arrest her, but in Boulder we can't.
I'm sorry, Thomas.
Don't be sorry for me. Be sorry for John Bonet.
I'm Patsy Ramsey, John Bonet's mother, and I'm grateful.
Hey, what's wrong?
Peter Ostrom, that's what's wrong. Mr. friggin' Bill of Rights.
I'm appalled.
What is this?
Yeah, I've been watching it. Looks like the Ramseys have decided to go public.
Oh,
Be involved in
I can't take this.
hideous, heinous crime.
Wait a
I
minute.
love that child with
She's wearing the same clothes she had on yesterday at my interview.
heart and soul.
Women like Patsy Ramsey never wear the same clothes 2 days in a row.
No. You know what she's doing? She's trying to tell me that it was perfectly normal for her to have worn that red sweater 2 days in a row. That's what she's doing.
Some of you may have seen the ad that we placed in our local Daily Camera newspaper. This reward money has been offered since the death of John Bonet, but we felt that we weren't getting it out to the public enough.
Mr. Ramsey, your attorney's just called. There's something on TV they'd like you to see.
Thank you, Melinda.
John Ramsey declined to elaborate about who may have authored it. Today's Rocky Mountain News includes details of the note from an anonymous source. Included, the note was reportedly from a small foreign faction. The news reports the note was directed at John Ramsey saying, "The two gentlemen who have your daughter don't like you. And we respect your business, but not the country it serves." The Rocky says the note finished with the acronym VICTORY.
He didn't say it, he wasn't the source. I've heard. But I do think it's fair to say that this program has become the program of record on the Ramsey murder investigation. Anything that has happened, we have conscientiously reported it to you. Although we have remained open-minded, look at Jennifer Kay. She believes Patsy incapable. The program has remained open-minded. We understand anything is possible under the sun. To the best of our knowledge, however, there is no real evidence in this case that points in any direction other than straight into the faces of John and or Patsy Ramsey. We hear now about footprints in the snow we've never heard of before.
I think it'll be about the same one here.
Well, to tell you the truth, sir, I've been thinking about converting ever since I was in high school. I never really was a Jew. I mean, I was born a Jew. We give an atheist for all the religion we had in our lives. And that's what's missing, you know? Real faith, real spirit.
Well, have you ever considered just going back to your own religious roots? I mean, Judaism is a great religion and a great culture.
Well, sir, all my friends are Christian, and whenever they'd take me to church, I would feel so great. And I just don't want to lose that feeling.
Right? There. Why don't you read through a few of these? Come to our seminars, come to our services, and we'll sort of go a step at a time, huh? Learn about one another, okay?
Okay. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
For the sake of your Son, Jesus Christ, have mercy on us and forgive us, that we may delight in your will
and walk in your ways, with the glory of your name.
Amen.
Amen.
Please, please.
Almighty God, have mercy on you, forgive you all your sins through our Lord Jesus Christ, strengthen you in all goodness, and by the power of the Holy Spirit, keep you in eternal life. Amen. May the peace of the Lord be always with you.
And also with you.
Peace be with you.
Peace be with you. Peace be with you.
Peace be with you.
Peace be with you. Peace be with you. Peace be with you. I really appreciate you seeing me, Detective.
So you work for the Globe?
Yeah, I'm a researcher.
Mr. Shapiro, I'm Detective Thomas.
Hi.
Come on in.
Mind if I pat you down?
No.
We're not gonna find a wire or anything like that, are we, Jeff?
No.
You mind opening up your bag, please?
At least. I got the rope at the Army-Navy store, and the books from the library.
Why do you think this cord means something?
I believe that that is a match to the one that was found around Jean Bonnet's neck.
Well, how would you know that?
Well, the Globe published the autopsy photos, which I thought was morally reprehensible.
Just by looking at a photo published in a tabloid, you decided that this cord was a match.
Yeah, as far as I could see, yes.
In 1872, when Spain colonized the Philippines, they used the garrote to execute the natives?
I'm lost here. Is Jean Monnet killed because she's a Philippine revolutionary?
Look, John Ramsey was stationed in the Philippines at Subic Bay. He would know about the garrote.
You got any other bright ideas?
Autoerotic asphyxiation.
Take a seat.
Sexual pleasure can be enhanced when you cut off the oxygen supply.
Jeff, autoerotic asphyxiation means that you cut off your own oxygen supply. How does that fit in here?
He's just another homicide groupie. He just wants to sit with us. Jeff, why don't you go back to your little tabloid, turn on your computer, and go into one of those chat rooms. Your theory doesn't fit.
Alex Hunter seems to think it fits.
How do you know that?
He told me.
You talked to Hunter about this case.
Almost every day. I mean, sometimes I spend hours in his office.
Bull. Well, what else do you and Hunter talk about?
You name it. Other interesting possibilities. We just sit around and hash out different theories.
Which are what kind of theories?
Variations on the intruder possibilities.
Jeff, you're beautiful. I'll tell you what. You have another good idea? You come to us. You might get better action.
The majority of Boulder police officers have long distrusted Alex Hunter and his staff. But now with the media putting the spotlight on Boulder, Colorado, it's only made it
Eller's
worse
making us
and
look
more
bad again.
It's a big problem.
God, I hate that bastard. First he withholds evidence from my office, and then his boys leak what's been withheld so they can give it a little spin. Son of a bitch.
Is there anything I can do?
Like what?
I mean, should my paper, do some background on Eller?
You know, there may be something here in his resume. A couple of years ago, he worked for the police consortium, and there were rumors
What kind of rumors?
that he had to leave his job early because of some, sexual harassment stuff.
If that is true, that is some story.
That's what I keep telling people.
Look, I'm not defending Alex Hunter, but if I were in his position, I would do everything I could to get rid of John Eller. I mean, he's the problem, isn't he?
No, he's not. Eller's a cop's cop who won't kiss Hunter's butt. Hunter is the problem. Hunter's a slimy politician who can't stand it when people like us want to put murderers. Let me ask you a question, Jeff. Is your loyalty in the DA's office, the police department, or the Globe?
My loyalty is to JonBenet. And I will work with whoever I have to work with to do whatever it takes to avenge that little girl. Do you believe in God, Steve?
Sure.
Well, I believe that God chooses a path for us all. And mine has been chosen. That's why I'm here. To help. To help you.
We've got some things coming up. Maybe I'll give you a page.
If people think it's not being well handled, they are privy to their own opinions. We are handling this in a highly professional manner. If other cases have taken less time, that's great. This one is taking the time it needs.
Urkel did fine. He's like a little version of John.
Rawl always makes you see the world. Oh, absolutely. Yes, he does. Coffee smells good.
Excuse me, who are you?
I'm, Jeff Shapiro.
Are you a member of this church?
Not yet, but Father Haverstock and I are certainly talking about it.
Yeah, well, I don't believe you. Why are you really here?
I'm here for the same reason as you, ma'am. Find my faith and be able to keep it.
Rawl, I think this man is spying.
Spying? On who? What is this about, Jeff?
There's some misunderstanding. This woman
He has
obviously...
been following Patsy ever since we came to church.
Jeff? I think we better go talk in my office for a second. I'm sorry. Thank you, Susan.
Reed's at the top of the list for next week.
Jeffrey, I don't know what this is about. But if Susan says that you've been spying, then it could very well be that you have been spying. So why don't you just tell me the truth?
I did tell you the truth. I'm a Jew who wants to convert to Christianity.
I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask to see your driver's license.
You don't have to treat me like a criminal.
Jeffrey, you're obviously withholding something. Why don't you just tell me what it is?
Okay. I work for the Globe.
The Globe? But that magazine is pure trash. All you do is make up lies about people.
We don't, Reverend. We don't lie. Look, my job is to seek the truth. And that is why I'm here, because I believe that the Ramseys are involved in the death of JonBenet. If they are responsible for her death, don't you have to do something about it?
First you sneak in here pretending to be some kind of convert. And then you lied to me, Jeffrey.
Reverend, I was undercover. Like
I'm
the
sorry.
FBI or the CIA. I mean, that is not lying. Just doing
I'm
my
gonna have to ask you
job.
to leave my house.
If you can help the Ramseys, why can't you help me? If I'm the sinner that you say I am, why aren't you doing anything to help me save my soul? You shouldn't turn your nose up to any of God's children. Won't you help me save my soul?
Let us pray together.
Boss, I'm not getting a password screen. I rebooted it 3 times. I think somebody broke into the system.
Yes, I'm saying you had somebody break into the war room and tamper with Trujillo's computer.
What the hell's the matter with you? You know we don't have a key to Trujillo's office. How in the world would we have gotten to his computer?
I don't know. I just know you did it. And everyone else is going to know it, too.
It's going to be an archival stream. Shooting latent. It's a latent print there.
Let me know if you pulled anything out.
When you finish, take a picture of
When we took apart Trujillo's computer, we found that the chip that controls the password wasn't functioning properly.
Yeah, well, all that means is that you found something wrong with the computer. But I know somebody broke into that room over the weekend and tampered with our evidence files.
Sir, the war room doors, they're connected to a secured central clock. Whether a person broke in or used a card, the clock would show it. There was no activity at those doors from Friday afternoon until Monday morning when Trujillo opened the door himself.
Well, then they must have rigged the central clock somehow.
We don't believe there was a break-in.
They broke in. Look, they'll do anything to sabotage our case. Anything.
No, Tom. I believe in loyalty as much as the next guy, but John Eller's getting crazy.
No.
They must have rigged the central clock. What was that about? What's coming next? Black helicopters? Little green men from Roswell, New Mexico? For the last 6 weeks, all he could do was focus on the Ramseys. Now he's focused on my office. I implore you, get him off the case.
Isn't it possible that you're also taking this too far? Isn't it possible?
If Eller keeps on like this, we're gonna blow it. And if that happens... Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If that happens, we're gonna have to learn to live with a brand new concept of just how bad the press can get, I promise you.
Alex, he's my commander of detectives. Look, I won't talk about this anymore. Let's just change the subject. Let's move on, all right? Well, now that your guys and our guys have permission to search the Ramseys, why don't we do the next job right?
I'm all for that.
Mr. Ramsey, Lou Smith.
Oh, yes, I saw you in the DA's office when we gave our interviews in April.
Yeah, I wrote you a letter a couple of weeks after that.
I remember. You asked me to get in touch with you. I didn't I? Well, sorry about that, but, well, you know how lawyers are.
I'm sure your attorneys are just trying to do what's best for you and your family.
And now we're moving back to Atlanta.
How do you do, Miss Ramsey? I'm Lou Smith.
Hello?
Patsy, this is the detective that Alex Hunter hired. Remember, he wrote to us.
Oh, yes, it was a nice letter. I've thought a lot about it, Mr. Smith. Have you made the progress that you were looking for in finding the killer?
Not as much as I hoped. But there's always new information coming in. If we stay here talking in the street, we're going to get hit by a car or a camera. Can I suggest you join me inside my van? Of course, if you're lawyers that object to that, I guess we could talk another time.
The whole world has condemned John and me. Yet somebody did break into my house and kill my little girl.
Who was that somebody?
I gave the police a detailed list of all the people that it might be, but I really don't know who to suspect first.
Do you really think you can solve this?
You solve a murder with evidence. If the right piece of evidence exists, I'll find it. Every day I stop here and pray for John Bonet. And every day I ask for God's help in solving this crime.
Amen.
Would you say a prayer with me now?
Lord, I pray for courage to face our own fears and to take us where others will not go. And through it all, dear Lord, please be by our side.
Please, dear God, please.
Lord, let this nightmare soon be over.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Amen. And I lay it on him. Why don't you just give us a pubic hair sample now that we're here? He says, no way! No!
Listen, we found an air taser stun gun whose prongs match the spacing on the marks on her body. Doesn't that interest you?
No, it doesn't.
Look, Luke, if you want to keep looking for an intruder, go look. Nobody's stopping you, man.
Hey, we're just trying to let the evidence lead us.
Rather than fall in love with the theory.
Oh, theory, hell. We've been looking at people for over 8 months. It's a Ramsey, pure and simple. And when we put him in the box, we'll prove it. We'll buy you lunch. Sue, can you give us a check, please?
Here under the window's where the scuff mark on the wall is.
Yeah, there's no question somebody could have left from this window.
The coroner found cellulose in the child's vagina. Could have come from the broken ends of the paintbrush stick.
The sexual assault could have taken place here, right outside the wine cellar. And the garroting, too.
Okay, she's being assaulted with Patsy's paintbrush. Maybe at this point that John Bonet screams. Hey, Lou. Look at this duct. If the girl is over there...
And she screams. The scream goes directly outward to the street, while at the same time it goes upward to the master bedroom 3 flights. I'll wait while you get upstairs. Give you 30 seconds, then I'll whistle.
Sure.
Then go outside and see what you can hear from across the street.
Hey, where are you going? What the hell are you doing? Shh.
I don't think they'll find it.
Well, what do you mean?
They're using fiber optics to look behind the walls and under the house. They're going to take out the water heater. They really want to find that roll of duct tape.
Wait a minute. They haven't found the roll of duct tape yet? Okay. And the ransom note, what time did it say that they were supposed to drop off the money?
Let me check. See, where's my copy of the note? Let's see. Here it is. They said they'd call between 8 and 10, and they didn't.
Oh, my God. Oh, come on. You're not going to let me see the handwriting?
I think not.
Sorry. Oh. Sorry, Alex. I got to run. Something important came up.
Not as important as the ransom note, eh? Ta-ta.
Okay, it's 4 paces from her door to the entrance to the spiral staircase.
And 13 steps down to the ground floor. Is she struggling all this time?
Not if it's a parent who's holding on to her.
Assume for a second it isn't. Maybe she's knocked out by a stun gun.
Back to that again.
The marks match. Okay. Suppose someone carries a struggling child down the spiral stairs. Then what? Maybe for a moment she breaks loose. There are only two routes to the basement. Route 1. She comes down the stairs, makes her first left into the butler's kitchen, goes through, up this set of stairs, then turns right to get to the door to the basement. Problem is, here, I'll show you. The door swings out, and you have to sidestep to get in. No one who knows the house is going to take this route. Route 2. The child comes down the stairs and heads toward the patio door.
No access to the patio through the basement.
She only heads to the patio door. Then she makes her second left into the kitchen.
Which is 25 feet long. It's got an island and 2 high chairs.
She comes to the kitchen. He follows. She goes left into the hallway. He follows and he's at the door.
An intruder never finds a light switch.
Unless, like you, he is a flashlight.
Maybe John Benet and Patsy had an argument. Couldn't wipe herself. Maybe she wet the bed. Maybe they weren't upstairs at all. Maybe she sneaks down into the kitchen to have a snack, sitting right there, eating some pineapple.
You're saying this thing starts out as an argument and this woman ends up killing her child.
In a rage, Patsy hits her in the head, maybe with a flashlight. We found a flashlight right here on the counter. Here, look at the picture. Then she thinks the child is dead.
How could she face the horrifying idea that the whole world would see her as her child's murderer?
An accidental murder turns into a premeditated cover-up.
If it was an accident, why not do what other abusive parents do? Take her to the hospital and say she fell down the stairs. If Miss Ramsey was together enough to engage in a cover-up with a ransom note, she was capable of seeking help. The intruder's been in the house for hours waiting for the family to go home. He's already written the ransom note. He knows the place by now, and it's a straight line from the bottom of those stairs to the boiler room. So he took John Benet down here, and he closed that door. He closed it so he could be alone with her. So he could molest her.
I don't buy it. If the intent was to molest her, why not leave the house with her? Why stick around, then write a ransom note if the intention was not kidnapping but molestation?
I don't have all the answers yet. Trip, let me see some of that rope you have.
Hold it for me. Sure, I will.
First, place the noose around my neck.
What? Around your neck?
Then make the garrote. Do it from behind. She had to be face down because her hair was caught in a knot on the stick.
You ready?
Don't forget, I've already been hit over the head. I'm unconscious. You see, whoever killed John Benet had to look at her. That person had to stare into her face to make sure she was dead. Do you really believe a parent could do that?
Some people are capable of anything. Anything at all.
Karen, line 3. We've got 5 minutes to air.
Okay. Sheehan, what? Can you actually do that? Okay. John Eller, please. Karen Sheehan. John, is it true you're hiring your own lawyers on the Ramsey case? What does it matter who told me? Is it true? Is that a yes/no comment or a no/no comment?
The public knows nothing but the police version. And in the police version, we did it. We have to counter that.
John, you've already run some ads.
So all they did was offer a reward. This one gives a profile of what the killer might be like. Now, we can get solid tips from a profile.
What if nobody comes forward?
Then I lose a few dollars.
No. If nobody comes forward, then you give the police and Hunter the best excuse they need to summon a grand jury, and we don't want that. If you or Patsy are called before a grand jury, there's nobody to defend you. Your lawyers are not allowed to cross-examine any witnesses. If they ask you a question that you don't want to answer, you have to take the fifth. You do not need that, John.
I don't care. I'm running the ads.
Hi, Alex. Thanks. I really appreciate this.
I'm going to hold you to that, Karen. Good morning, fellas. All right. Let's get started.
Okay. Mr. Hunter, can you confirm that the detectives in the John Bonet killing are hiring their own lawyers to determine whether there's a prosecutable case?
I'm not sure I'd put it exactly that way. They've hired lawyers to advise them.
Is that normally done?
That's not customary, but then everything about this case is unusual. Got what you need?
Really appreciate it, Alex. Thanks.
An open letter from John and Patsy Ramsey.
Not only are John and Patsy Ramsey placing full-page advertisements in Boulder's newspaper, they're distributing thousands of flyers which are being placed in mailboxes throughout the neighborhood where they lived. With me today is Greg McQuarrie, a former FBI profiler and now a leading consultant to investigators throughout the country. Mr. McQuarrie, are you saying that the Ramseys' ad campaign is useless?
No, but there are some problems with it. It's far too general. The profile they've released would fit about a quarter of the people in Boulder. When you release a public ad campaign, you need to provide specifics so that the average citizen has something to look for.
Expect Ramsey to describe himself?
That's part of the problem as well.
As a reporter for the Daily Camera, you understand that this is off the record. You can't disclose that this conversation ever occurred, and you can't use notes or use a tape. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good, okay. You can ask about anything except the 48 hours before and the 48 hours after John Bonet's death.
I understand, but within these guidelines, I'm on my own, right?
Agreed.
Mr. Ramsey.
Hi.
Terry Sparrow. Hi.
Come in. I was really kind of boring as a kid. I didn't much like sports, wasn't into drugs, didn't really drink. I guess I just liked solving problems and making money. I still do.
Do you mind if I ask a question or two about your sex life?
Oh, Mr. Sparrow. I feel as if I've been picked as clean as a turkey after Thanksgiving. I've been feeling pretty naked for a long time, so you might as well ask whatever you want.
I appreciate that. And I will ask an offbeat question. Are you well endowed?
I'm fine. But you certainly couldn't call me King Kong.
Do you enjoy anything different? Anything that censorious people might characterize as kinky?
I'm not that creative. I certainly wouldn't call myself wild sexually. Pretty conventional, actually.
Did John Bonet ever make you angry? I mean, really piss you off?
Of course. She was a little girl. and she could get pretty bratty at times.
What would you do?
What a parent usually does. Put her in a timeout and explain to her why she shouldn't do what she just did.
You ever hit her?
Never.
You ever hit any of your kids? You know, a little tough love.
That is a concept I don't understand. Hitting a child out of love.
Do you believe in God?
I do.
Do you think God knows everything?
Yes.
Do you think God would know if somebody had done something wrong and not admitted it?
God would know. Yes. God would know.
If you want to believe the deed was committed by an outside intruder, then you have to recognize that this criminal chose some hour late in the evening of Christmas Day to enter the house, a time when the parents were sure to be home, and which multiplies his chance of capture.
What do we see? Somebody who kills a child, but cares enough about her to place her on her own blanket?
Which criminals do not do.
Isn't garroting a style of killing usually associated with criminals?
Yes, it is.
Has your unit ever come across a case in which a parent garroted a child?
No.
Keep in mind, you can't judge the behavior of people who've been through a traumatic loss by an act of violence they've committed themselves. We've seen every response under the sun.
Well,
where are we then?
You have no hard evidence that an intruder entered the house.
Are you saying the Ramseys killed their daughter?
I'm saying that the child's dog just happened to be at the neighbor's house that evening. Who but somebody close to the family would know that?
What about the open basement window? Even more important, what about the missing roll of duct tape? The rest of the cord? Only an intruder would have removed those items for fear of being identified through them.
We said no hard evidence.
I've got a couple of questions for you, sir. Do you have any hard evidence that one of the Ramseys killed their child? And if so, which one?
Our conclusion is that as of today, there isn't enough evidence to charge anyone.
There are things we believe we still need to do.
Says who? The DA's office?
Says the FBI and our lawyers.
Well, what's going on? I thought you were supposed to help us.
Well, you hired us to determine if you had a prosecutable case. Now, as a lawyer, I'd like to know if the same person who hit that child on the head strangled her. Frankly, I don't even know which action came first.
All right. All right, look, first thing. We need to look over the videotapes we made on the murder date of all the cars parked around the Ramsey house that night. We need to check out every one of those owners. Next, we got to start interviewing all the registered sex offenders in our files who don't have ironclad alibis for Christmas night. Plus, their family, their friends, their lovers, their bookies, their bartenders, their drug dealers, their parole officers, anybody that might give us a usable tip. We need to re-interview Fleet White. And finally, we need to re-interview the Ramseys themselves.
And how are we supposed to manage this? Wait till Hofstrom sets it up?
If that's what we need to do, that's what we need to do.
Mr. White, did you actually see Mr. Ramsey pull the tape off her mouth, or was it already in his hand?
I saw him pull it off. No, wait. Maybe he already had it in his hand, loose.
Did you see him untie the cord?
It happened so fast. It was like watching a speeded up film. I'm sorry, I can't separate the movement for you.
Was she lying on a blanket, or was she covered with the blanket?
Yes, a white blanket. Maybe covered. I already told you all this. Why are we going over all this again for the 17th time? Why haven't you arrested somebody?
We are just trying to confirm, Mr. White.
Treating me and my wife as suspects and refusing to exonerate us for months on end. And then when you finally say we're not suspects, why couldn't you just say that we were cleared? Why did you have to hedge like that? Do you honestly believe that I killed my best friend's kids?
I promise you, we wanted to clear you.
Well, then why didn't you?
We weren't responsible for the wording of the release.
What do you mean, wording? Hunter?
Look, Alex Hunter thinks that Patsy Ramsey did it too. He just doesn't think that Eller can deliver the goods.
Has he given up on the idea of getting rid of Eller?
No way. He wants him gone now more than ever. Actually, he's asked me to help.
You? How?
He wants me to look into some rumors, and if the rumors are true, then he wants me to write a story.
What rumors?
I don't know. Sexual harassment a couple years ago at the Community Police Consortium.
Alex Hunter asked you to look into that?
Uh-huh.
And do a story for the Globe?
Yes. He hates Eller. But don't worry, nothing's turned up yet.
Right. This little punk is just trying to impress us how close he is to Alex Hunter. He's pulling our chain.
That's not true. I'm close to Alex.
Oh, Jeff, if you're so close. give him a call at home. Now.
No.
See? He's pulling our chain.
Dial him. Come on. Dial him up. Now, Jeff.
Hello, the Hunters aren't home right now, but if you'd like to...
You're not a double agent for Alex Hunter, are you, Jeff?
No. I'm just some guy that's caught in the middle.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe you could be a junior detective.
Yeah. Our junior detective. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Serious? Because if I run junior detective, shouldn't I have a gun?
You know what? I'll set you up with a friend of mine. He sells Glocks below cost.
Hey, you know what? I think Jeff's more of a Beretta man, don't you think?
Maybe. Beretta, Glock.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
Alex Hunter asked you to look into that. And do a story for the Globe.
Yeah, he really hates Eller. But don't worry, nothing's turned up yet.
So what did you have in mind for this?
Well, sir, we thought that when you play this for Hunter, he might see his way clear to
Stepping down? Why would he do that?
Well, he asked a tabloid reporter to smear Commander Eller.
Oh, well, maybe I missed something. Why don't you play me the section where Mr. Hunter asked Jeff Shapiro to smear somebody, anybody? Because what this tape shows are two detectives who are so bent out of shape with loathing for the district attorney that they're going to rely on a bottom feeder like Jeff Shapiro to plan a little blackmail scheme. That's what this is, it's a blackmail scheme.
It's the truth.
I don't care if it's the truth. My detectives do not plan extortion. Not if they want to stay in this department. The door's open.
He wanted me to look into some rumors. And if the rumors were true, he wanted me to print a story.
What kind of rumors?
I don't know, something about sexual harassment a couple years ago at the Community Police Consortium.
Mark, would you come in here, please? Come in. Close the door. Mark, I've informed Mr. Hunter that effective immediately, you're going to take over supervision of the John Bonet investigation. All right. And John Eller will stay on as chief of detectives. And the police operations will be run from here, not the joint war room. Is that all right with you, Alex?
That's fine, thank you.
Hey, Susan. Is Alex around?
He's busy.
Oh, could you just slip me in for one quick minute?
I don't think so.
Okay, I don't mind waiting.
Jeff, he's not going to see you today.
Oh, okay, could you check his books and tell him when's a good time?
Look, there's not going to be a good time. He doesn't want to see you again.
What are you talking about?
Sorry, Jeff.
Come on, Susan. I don't want to be the one responsible for you losing your job because you didn't let me see Alex today.
Go.
Jeff, hey, the weirdest thing just happened. I was in Alex Hunter's office and his receptionist told me. Well, when can we talk?
Kobe told me not to talk to you.
You were warned not to talk to me.
He said I can't talk.
Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Hey, Steve. Jeff. I think we must have gotten cut off.
Turn it
Look,
off.
I wouldn't take... Hello? Hello?
Now keep pushing to get the Ramseys in for interviews. You do it in your first statement, and you keep doing it, okay? So no matter what question you're asked, you say, I can't answer that until the Ramseys talk, okay? Or meet with us. Right, all right. Now what you got to get across is, Mr. and Mrs. Ramsey, if you don't cooperate, not only can't we solve this case, Somebody's going to demand a grand jury. Raise the temperature. But don't be nervous. Is that a new suit? Let's do it.
First, we have reviewed and updated a case management task list to identify and assign tasks that need to be completed as part of this investigation. When I first took over, there were 72 tasks on my to-do list. The most important remaining task is to re-interview the Ramseys.
Have they agreed to that?
We put in a formal request last week.
Mr. Beckner.
We're waiting for a response.
Mr. Beckner, why is it necessary to talk to the Ramseys again?
Because we haven't spoken to them in 6 months. During that time, we've had to contend with lots of new questions regarding lots of new information.
Are they still part of the focus of your investigation? Are they suspects?
We've not named any suspects. Ramseys do remain under an umbrella of suspicion, which is why it's critical that they speak with us.
Is it true that you've asked the district attorney to impanel a grand jury to investigate the murder?
Yes. A grand jury is always an option.
I understand the press conference was designed to put pressure on the Ramseys, but it's borderline unethical to convene a grand jury in this situation. What will you present? You don't have enough for a case.
I'll go even further, sir. I don't believe either John or Patsy killed that child. It won't take a grand jury very long to figure that out. You'll end up with egg on your face.
I'm not wedded to the concept, Pete, but let's face it, the Ramseys haven't talked to anyone for 6 months.
Hold it. We're officers of the court, and that's not a valid reason to convene a grand jury. Our policy can't be the end justifies the means.
Especially if they're innocent.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round the Virgin Mother and Child.
You'd think that the governor of Colorado would have something better to do than listen to Fleet White. How dare he insist that you be removed from the Ramsey case? How dare he? I wouldn't worry about that, Alex. As long as we keep investigating. Romer won't do anything. The governor's a politician, just like you and me.
Well, what if we can't climb out of this big bog?
Yeah, glug glug.
Well, maybe there's hope. I heard John Eller's quitting. Can that be true?
Yeah, well, Linda Art is suing him, Larry Mason's suing him, so why stay? Tell you the truth, I'm thinking about leaving myself. I'm so tired, Alex. And Mason and Art are also suing yours truly. And the rank and file hate me now. Everybody at the police station hates me. And apart from you, I've got no allies left in Boulder. But I'm not going to leave till the end of the year. Not until the Ramsey case is finished.
You think this will be done by the end of the year? You're dreaming.
Who's being defeatist now?
You know what we have after 13 long months? Suspicions, indications, hints. We even have a few new clues. What we don't have is evidence. Oh, God. You know, I envy you and Eller. I do. I'm caught between a rock and a hard place, and it's crushing my head.
What the hell are you doing here?
Steve, the Globes found a source who told us things that you do not want to be made public.
Oh, son of a bitch.
So they need your help with information about the grand jury. Any little tidbit, anything you heard around the water cooler, anything.
Why should I tell them anything?
Steve.
What?
They know about your mother.
My mother? What about my mother?
Steve. They know she committed suicide. I'm sorry.
You've got that all wrong. She died in a hospital.
Steve! Steve!
What?
I don't want to see this story published. I'm here to protect you.
You know what, Jeff? I want you off my property. Now!
Steve! Steve! Damn it.
It's
fabulous. Spanish TV, Australian TV, just everybody seems to use the software that John is going to be associated with.
It won't be long before every TV network in this hemisphere will be purchasing it from John.
Yes, here, here.
You know, there's one thing I'm really going to miss about Boulder. It's working with you guys. You know, you guys are the guardians. And we all know if we're up to the politicians, and anybody who gets elected is a politician.
Yeah, that's right.
We're up to them. The only people who'd go to jail in Boulder would be cops who got caught smoking on duty.
The media has told one story over and over about you and your husband. If I do a documentary, I want to see the other story that could have been told.
John?
Patsy, may I ask you, how have you managed to cope over the last year?
Are you a believer, Mr. Mills? I am. In my darkest moments, I turn to God, and He sustains me. Without His grace, this past year, our past year, this past year.
If you could excuse us.
Why don't they go in and talk?
Because the police have made them out to be worse than Eva Braun and Hitler for the last 15 months. And the Ramseys believe that even if they talk until they're hoarse, the police will continue to leak falsehoods to make them appear guilty.
I don't suppose it's occurred to you that they may be guilty?
But does that really even matter anymore? I mean, perception is reality, and the world perceives them as people who have stonewalled police from day one about the murder of their own child.
John, you didn't have to fly here to deliver a letter.
You can give it to Alex Hunter, or you can throw it away. The one thing you can't do is change a word of it.
Alex, where's the problem? He's offering to have everyone in the family submit to interviews. They'll talk for as long as you want, no conditions. Why aren't you smiling, Alex? You have the store now.
There's one condition implicit in his letter. That my office does the interviews.
You find that so unreasonable?
I can't conduct interviews for the police. It's their case. Until they hand it over to me, they're still in charge.
They're still pushing for a grand jury?
Every hour of every day.
Have you agreed to that?
No, I have not. I told Morgan it was your case. And until it was handed over to me, you would do all the questioning. I won't poach on your turf.
Have you decided then to call a grand jury?
Oh, no, I haven't, but... Peter, don't you think a grand jury's just about inevitable?
I don't see enough evidence to take it there.
In any event, when do you want us to hand the case over to you?
A month from now.
This is what John Bonet looked like on the morning of December 25th. The bike was her Christmas present, given to her by her parents. John Ramsey took this snapshot. Next, please. This is very early on Christmas morning. It's the last image we have of John Bonet alive. About 22 hours later, on December 26th, a little bit before 6 o'clock in the morning, when Patsy Ramsey went downstairs, she says she found a note telling her that John Bonet had been kidnapped. About 7 hours after that, the body of John Bonet was found in the basement by her father. Next, please. This is where investigative officers found the body of John Bonet.
So far as we could learn, we found no clear sign of forced entry. We did find these pry marks on 2 doors, but we didn't find any splinters on the ground, which of course you would during a break-in. And of course, there's the spider web. And we don't have any photographic record, but an officer does remember seeing 1 or 2 intact strands of a spider web running from this grate in front of this broken basement window to this window molding. If entry did occur here, we find it very unlikely that this partial web would still be there the next morning.
As of now, we've looked at 68 suspects. Of the likely ones, handwriting, fingerprinting, DNA, and other forensic tests or strong alibis have eliminated the following: Chris Wolf, Fleet and Priscilla White, Linda Hoffman Pugh, Melinda Ramsey, and John Andrew Ramsey, the John Ramsey's children from an earlier marriage. And in addition, 30 of Boulder's 32 known sex offenders. In theory, the Santa Claus, Bill McReynolds, is still suspect. His wife wrote a play about the torture murder of a young girl in a basement. But we think he was way too weak to have done the crime. He had heart surgery only 4 months earlier. So, we keep coming back to somebody in the house.
The injury to John Bonet's head produced no exterior bleeding. Therefore, we don't know where or when she was hit. We believe it could have been caused by this flashlight. The flashlight, the ransom note, the pad on which the note was written, were all found near each other in this area of the kitchen. Linguistics analysis of the note shows similar phraseology to Patsy Ramsey's previous notes and letters. Yet, handwriting analysis doesn't show that Patsy Ramsey wrote the note. It does show that of all the people we interviewed, she's the only one who can't be eliminated.
4 fibers were found on the duct tape that was torn from John Bonet's mouth. This is Patsy Ramsey on Christmas night. CBI tells us that the 4 fibers from that duct tape are consistent with that jacket.
I'm very sorry, but consistent with is not a match. It is impossible to match a fiber to a garment in the way a fingerprint or DNA can be matched to a human being.
But wouldn't the jury buy it?
They might, for about 30 seconds. Then the defense would show that the fibers could have gotten on the tape like this. Bessie is wearing her jacket Christmas night. She puts the child to bed. The fibers attached to the white blanket, but the police found the duct tape on the blanket. It's called secondary transfer. It is the most common thing in the world.
Detective Thomas.
Yeah.
I'm Michael Kane.
Hey.
I think that's impressive work you're doing in there.
You have a say whether Alex Hunter goes forward. I mean, why would he invite you if he didn't want your advice?
Let's say I'm part of the mix.
You know what, Mr. Kane? When we started this case, we wouldn't settle for anything less than the death penalty. Then we agreed to accept nothing less than a conviction on murder. Then it went down to a felony conviction. Then, when we met with the FBI, they said an indictment would be a victory. And by the time Eller left, handcuffing would have been a triumph. Now, I'm lucky just to present my case. Think about that. To sum up, these are only some of the reasons why we believe that the Ramseys are the only genuine suspects. The ransom note was written on paper that was torn from a pad that belonged to Patsy Ramsey. The Sharpie pen that was used to write the note was found in a cup next to the kitchen phone where Patsy Ramsey kept all her pens. Patsy Ramsey is the only person that cannot be eliminated as author of that note. The ransom itself, $118,000, is the exact same amount as John Ramsey's bonus that year. The paintbrush, used as a stick to twist the garrote, is linked to Patsy Ramsey. The audio on the 911 tape conflicts with statements made by both Ramseys to the police. Within 35 minutes of finding his child's body, John Ramsey was on the phone with his pilot to fly the family to Atlanta. Moreover, the autopsy discloses vaginal trauma that was present prior to the night of the murder. It is unlikely that anyone outside the immediate family could have done this. And finally, the date engraved on John Bonet's headstone reads December 25th, not December 26th, which indicates to us that the Ramseys knew their child died before midnight.
We think you've got a triable case of felony murder here. We think you should take it straight to the grand jury.
To prove felony murder, we have to show that death occurred during an accompanying felony. What was the felony?
Sexual assault.
How do we show that? How do we show that, sir? Even if we could prove penetration, we don't know when it happened. Even if we could establish that it happened that night, which parent would we accuse and of which acts? Who tied the garrote? Sir, who carried the child? Who hit her over the head? Can you answer those questions? No, you can't. No, you can't. You don't even have enough for a case. You don't even have enough to indict.
So you're not going forward?
We are definitely going forward. My office will now interview the Ramseys.
And when you interview the Ramseys, just where are the police going to be?
I think they're going to find out that it's our case now, not theirs. We will use the police when and where I want to.
Lou.
Hello, Steve. Can I do something for you?
I heard the interviews with the Ramseys are taking place any day now. Is that true?
True.
Why weren't we asked to participate? This is our case.
No, it's Hunter's now.
Lou, is there any way I can be part of this team? I know this case better than anyone.
If it was up to me, you'd be there. But Alex wants his people doing the questioning.
You gotta be hard on him, Lou. Don't softball him. Don't let religion play a part in this.
Don't worry, Steve. I've put a lot of Christians in prison.
Mrs. Ramsey, when the police interviewed you last year, you were under medication, weren't you?
Indeed, I was. I'm sure that it must have given a terrible impression of me.
Have you taken any medications today?
Yes, but nothing that would tranquilize me.
Good. Why don't we get started with what happened in the house? Did you notice if there's anything out of place in this room? Take your time.
No.
John, you know the autopsy found pineapple in John Bonet's digestive system.
That is so bizarre. She was asleep when we got home, and I took her straight up to bed. She didn't eat anything, Lou.
Mrs. Ramsey, the coroner found pineapple in your daughter's stomach.
I'm truly sorry, sir, but there must be a mistake. She went straight to sleep. She didn't eat any pineapple.
Well, there was pineapple on the table next to your daughter's gingerbread house.
And when I got home last night, Mr. Kane, it hit me like a brick. I remember hearing that John Bonet and Santa had agreed to meet that night. Now, if a stranger had come into her room, she would have kicked and screamed, but she knew Santa. And that is Bill McReynolds.
Mrs. Ramsey, did you talk to your husband about the interview yesterday?
No.
You didn't talk about anything that I asked you or anything John was asked?
No.
You didn't say, how'd it go, John?
Oh, for sure, but we never discussed anything that was asked. That would be wrong.
Did you ever own a stun gun? You know, Lou asked me about that a long time ago. Never. Now, I understand that women sometimes carry them for protection. Maybe Priscilla White would know.
Shut him up. Ramsey is running this interview.
There can't be another voice on the 911. Burke never came downstairs. He never talked to us while I was calling the operator. He was asleep the whole time.
Mrs. Ramsey, you told the police that when you found the note, you didn't read it all the way through.
Right, only a few lines, just up to the part where they said, "We have your daughter in our possession." I will go to my grave with that phrase in my head.
And you didn't read any further before calling 911?
I don't think so. It's hard to be sure because I've had to copy it so many times, but on the day itself, I just read a bit.
Mrs. Ramsey, what if I told you we had evidence that shows you're not being truthful?
Let's see it.
Well, we're not in a position to show it to you right now.
Of course you're not.
Mrs. Ramsey, there were only 3 people in that house that night. If you didn't kill John Bonet, if your husband didn't kill John Bonet, that would only leave your son, Burke.
Pal, you don't want to go there. Don't start with that.
I'm going to ask you one more time, Mrs. Ramsey, and please do not lie to me. Did you?
You are going down the wrong road.
Frankly, Alex, I don't see an alternative but to take this to the grand jury. I do see a case outline against Patsy Ramsey. I won't press for an indictment unless there's a whole case there, but I certainly think we have enough to convene a panel.
I don't. For 2 years I've been saying, give me evidence. If you can't, give me motive. If you can't even give me motive, give me prior bad behavior. And nobody has given me any of these. In fact, the office decides to present this to a grand jury. I'm sorry, Alex, but I won't participate. It's just plain wrong to seek an indictment with this little evidence. It would be a judicial burlesque.
It would be. It sure would be.
I need to brood on this.
Lou, if you weren't so hung up in your damn imaginary intruder, you'd see that every sign screams Patsy Ramsey. You gotta be deaf, dumb, and blind not to get it.
All right, you tell me. Why'd she do it?
She lost her temper. Just like so many parents in this country, she lost her temper. She got tired of the smelly sheets and the stained blankets. She whacked her kid on the head, saw what she did, and lost her temper.
Let me get this straight. This woman, this mother, lost her temper, hit her child on the head with a flashlight, knocked her out, panicked, covered it up by making a garrote out of her own paintbrush, and while the corpse lay in the cellar, went upstairs and wrote a fake ransom note 3 pages long. Why? Because she was embarrassed?
That's right.
Is that what you want me to believe?
I sure do.
No way. Not today, not tomorrow, not the day after, never.
Come on, you guys. I mean, you're both so obsessed with this case you can't see anything else. You shut your eyes to any piece that doesn't fit. No wonder this case is such a mess. If I was your boss, I'd fire you both.
The 18 months that my colleagues and I have worked on this case night and day, we were advised by the prosecutor not to speak to certain witnesses. We were forbidden to clear innocent people. We refused search warrants, and we were the victims of a campaign of misinformation designed to discredit all of us and designed to destroy the career of our commander. And I think that until an independent prosecutor is appointed, there will be no justice for John Bonet. The DA's office for 2 decades has dealt with serious crime by plea bargaining, like some sleazy used car salesman. And the detectives never had a chance. Self-righteous. And this is why I've chosen to publicly resign from the Boulder Police Department.
Steve Thomas is just the latest on a list of casualties in the Jean Bonet murder case. In the 588 days since Jean Bonet's murder, 4 detectives and the police chief have either left the department or left the case.
I don't know why the detective said that. I want you to get hold of Bob Grant at the Arapahoe DA's office. Let's talk to him about it.
Will you appoint us as prosecutors? Do you think Alex Luger hasn't been aggressive enough?
If you could just give me a second here, guys. It's a very complicated issue. I really don't have anything to say right now. I will have a press conference in a little while, and we'll go over some things then. Thank you very much.
Good morning. I have a brief announcement on the John Bonet Ramsey case.
After consulting with all the Denver metro area prosecutors and the state attorney general, I have concluded that it would not be proper to appoint a special prosecutor at this time. Alex Hunter, district attorney for Boulder County, is going to convene a grand jury within 6 weeks. And 2 of our state's best prosecutors will be appointed to assist Michael Caine in presenting this case to the grand jury.
Now I know what a gelding feels like. Could have been worse. It might have appointed a special prosecutor.
Would that really be worse? Now it's our case in name only. We're just spectators. I can't believe we lost command because Steve Thomas had a public tantrum. Damn it. We should have answered him point by point. Now the world thinks he's a hero. And even if we get an indictment, even if we get a conviction, it's too late, Alex. Our reputations have been ruined. It's sad. It's really sad.
They scrambled into the Justice Center with the media in hot pursuit. 12 Boulder County residents starting their first day on the grand jury investigating the JonBenét Ramsey case. Behind closed doors, they've begun the secret proceedings that could take months. Proceedings that could end in a criminal indictment.
You got a minute?
Sure, what can I do for you?
I was wondering if you knew when you expect me to testify. I like to be real prepared for a grand jury.
Tell you the truth, Lou, I don't know if I'm going to call you. I'm pretty far along the road where I'm heading, and I don't want to get distracted. I want to get home.
I got a lot of material. Strong material.
I don't doubt it. I just don't think it's for me. Lou. Thanks for coming by.
I heard you met with Caine.
I'm tired of yelling from the back of the truck, Pete. So I'm resigning. I can't be part of a lynch mob.
Lou, if I didn't have the responsibility of 300 felons on my docket, I'd be thinking just like you.
Smith's swimming against the tide. He's the only person in America who still thinks they didn't do it. My guess is his letter has zero effect.
Oh, you think so? Listen to what he's saying. An innocent person will be indicted, and a vicious killer will remain on the loose to prey on some other innocent child. That's a double travesty.
Come on, it's easy to knock down. There he is, a retired detective way past his prime. He only quits because he can't stand to be wrong.
6 months from now, if you go to trial, the defense will call him and he will be their best witness. It won't be his foolish theory then. He's got the whole case in his head. We hired him for an overview and he has one. Even if he's wrong about the Ramseys' innocence, he can cripple the prosecution's case.
Not the case I'm putting together.
It appears the grand jury will continue to hear from CBI experts, including forensic analysts who may be able to shed more light on the ransom note. As it stands right now, that letter may be the most revealing piece of evidence prosecutors will have to work with. From courtroom to crime scene, the grand jury investigating the JonBenét Ramsey murder made its first visit to the Ramseys' former home. It's where the body of 6-year-old JonBenét was found in a basement room, strangled and beaten, December 26, 1996. It's a place these jurors know too well through documents, testimony, and photographs. It's a place they now know in person. Though no one outside the grand jury courtroom knows exactly what's going on the inside, it's certainly been a careful and painstaking process that will likely culminate in the testimony of the 2 people who remain under suspicion in JonBenét's death, her parents, John and Patsy Ramsey.
if there was not a grand jury going on, perhaps there would be a candlelight vigil. If there was not a sense that there's some movement in the investigation, maybe we would have a candlelight vigil.
4 alternate jurors were dismissed today from the John Bonet grand jury, and informed sources say this means prosecutor Michael Caine will ask the panel to indict either John or Pat.
Peter, it's Lou. Listen, I know Caine thinks I'm crazy, but could you ask him to at least hear me out? Please. Let me at least sit down with Caine's assistants. I believe that an intruder intending to kidnap and molest John Bonet came to the Ramseys' house, bringing with him cord, duct tape, and a stun gun. He searched the house for a point of entry and discovered that every door and window is wired to an alarm. After discovering an open and broken cellar window, he climbed in, leaving a scuff mark. There's fresh entry at that window. Then he made his way upstairs looking to write a ransom note on the premises so that neither paper nor ink could be traced back to him. After finishing the note, he returned to the cellar to wait. The Ramseys come home. They go to bed, after which the intruder goes to John Bonet's room, knocks her out with a stun gun, tapes her mouth, binds her hands and feet, and wraps her in her blanket to keep her warm from the winter cold. He's intending to take her with him. Scared that an alarm might go off if he opens the door to the outside, he returns to the basement with John Bonet. She wakes up and screams. He silences her with his flashlight, quickly takes the cord used to bind her feet, makes a garrote, kills her, and hides her in the wine cellar. Then, using a suitcase to stand on, he leaves by the same window he came in through.
Good presentation, Lou. I take this to Caine. I'm asking him to shoot himself in the foot.
You have to recognize that I feel conscience-bound to present them.
Are you saying you'll go public?
I repeat, I'm conscience-bound.
But if you're invited into the grand jury room, your remarks will be sealed.
I want the grand jury to be able to decide fairly. That's far more important to me than public exposure.
Courthouse observers are speculating that the appearance of Lou Smit and John Douglas before the grand jury could create enough doubt among the jurors to thwart efforts to bring an indictment in the John Bonet Ramsey case.
See, if we indict and bring this to trial, you can't argue, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the evidence of this case is very clear. Either Mr. or Mrs. Ramsey killed their child and the other one covered it up. I mean, that may work in the movies. But if you can't show which one of them did it, there's nothing you can prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, Mike, I've been in every grand jury session with you. And I don't know. Now, it's yours to run. I have to sign any true bill you bring in. So I'm asking you, is the case there?
In Atlanta, the only way we could shake the press was to keep moving from motel to motel. What's happening here?
If you're indicted, you'll be arrested. Caine won't make a deal unless you surrender. He must want to see you do a fur walk in shackles on the evening news.
All right.
After more than a year tethered to the John Bonet Ramsey murder probe, 12 Boulder County grand jurors appear ready to go home and perhaps ready to relinquish the case they've come to know so well. One juror even snapped pictures of the media, prompting speculation that the grand jury is nearly finished.
I think it's time to let things go with that one for sure. You know, the cops definitely should keep the investigation ongoing, but, you know, the hype going around and people talking about it all over the nation still and stuff, it's like beating a dead horse.
On the last day of deliberations, the Boulder grand jury had county escorts to buffer them against a media that was growing ever impatient. By 3:30, the 12 Boulder County residents exchanged hugs and walked away from the JonBenet Ramsey case for good. Soon, word was out that a significant announcement was about to be made. A mob of cameras, mics, and cell phones descended on the Justice Center.
We're going to have a statement, but it won't be for at least 30 minutes. Let my people through.
Sir? You guys look like you're standing around at the Vatican waiting for a puff of smoke.
Mr. Kane, why do you look upset?
This grand jury has been working on this case for more than a year. We're going to be going to Alex Hunter very soon. Let's go back to the studio right now.
Thanks, Raj. News 4's Brian Moss has been waiting for Alex Hunter to come out.
Let's go to Brian now. Brian?
Hi, Bill. Alex Hunter is just leaving the DA's office right now. We're walking alongside him. He's heading to a position over by Boulder Creek. In his left hand, several pages of material. He's wearing a gray pinstripe suit. He has a statement in his hand. Alex Hunter, after the grand jury process, about to make his statement as he heads towards a podium position, wearing a red tie. But we'll now obviously hear from him live as he steps up.
And we're going to be giving you an order from Judge Stansted, who, by the way, is sitting in for Roxanne Balin, who is not available today. So you are going to have those in your hands, and they deal with grand jury secrecy, which you will see, and most of you know, is extremely important and involved in all the remarks that I will make. At least it's guiding me in my remarks, and we'll have those for you. The Boulder Grand Jury has completed its work and will not return. No charges have been filed. The grand jurors have done their work extraordinarily well, bringing to bear their legal powers, life experiences, and shrewdness. Yet I must report to you that I and my prosecution task force believe we do not have sufficient evidence to warrant the filing of charges against anyone.
Logic says she probably did it.
Logic isn't evidence. In any case, how often is murder logical?
I'm sure of it. Patsy killed her.
No, Steve. A stranger killed her.
No. It wasn't a stranger.
A stranger named Patsy Ramsey killed her.
The Ramsey case has forever changed the lives of many of the men and women involved in the investigation. Commander John Eller resigned from the Boulder Police Department. He currently is an investigator for the Florida State Attorney General's office. As a result of a no-confidence vote by the Boulder Police Department's union and pressure from the case, Chief Tom Kobe resigned in 1998. He now works in the nonprofit sector. Detective Steve Thomas, who also resigned from the Boulder Police Department, is now writing a book about the case. Late in 1999, nearly 3 years after JonBenet's murder, Alex Hunter's office officially cleared Janet and Bill McReynolds as suspects in the case. Hunter himself, having served 6 terms as district attorney, has decided not to seek re-election. In a pending action, Detective Linda Arndt sued the Boulder Police Department, alleging she was denied her First Amendment rights. Following his resignation from the Globe newspaper, Jeff Shapiro remained in Boulder, Colorado, and recently worked as a substitute teacher. After resigning as an investigator for the Boulder District Attorney's Office, Lou Smit is still investigating the case on his own. He remains convinced an intruder killed JonBenet. John and Patsy Ramsey currently live in Atlanta. They have filed a lawsuit against the Star newspaper and are writing a book about what has transpired during the last 3 years.